Oh, good afternoon, everybody. It is the Mike Missanelli Show. I'm not going to hold back today, to be honest with you. I was first couple of days, pretty soft on the Phillies, saying, they're fine. There's a lot of things I saw in last night's game that I did not like. So we're with the crew, Bill Colarulo, with producer Ray Dunn, and we will hit this hard. So, first of all, let me I don't understand how you can be unprepared against a pitcher like Valente Belloso. All right, let me give you the excuse first, because I know people want to hear the good. When you come off a long road trip, there's normally a malaise in your game one. You could look at every sport. Game one, when you get home, you get acclimated, you get the kids a whole bit, your mind, your biorhythms are not proper for a game one. However, that is counterbalanced by facing a pitcher like Valente Belloso. So when you're coming back on that road trip, leaders on this team or veteran players on this team, which they have a lot of, should be looking at Valente Belloso on what they're going to face on Monday. And what they're going to face is slop. So if you're going to face slop, you got to be a disciplined situational hitter. And they showed none of that last night. They are in a full-blown malaise. And I can only, attribute so much of it to coming off a road trip. Because when you look at that game last night and you look at the box score, first of all, I don't know if you can send Taijuan Walker out there anymore. Now, I know they don't have any other solutions, but he's a killer. Right away, he puts you in a hole. You come back off a road trip, you need a big game against a bad team, and this dude puts you right in a hole. And when he puts you right in a hole, if you're struggling as a baseball player, you go, oh, crap. But you don't say crap. And that's what he did to him last night. So now it's like, oh my God, we really have to hit. And you lose your focus and you lose your discipline. Left on base with runners in scoring position. Guess who did it? Turner, Harper, Real Muto. Those are the three guys that left runners in scoring position. Your leaders, who should be totally prepared to face Valente Belloso. Let's look at the box score. The first five hitters, 1 for 19 last night against Valente Belloso. It's impossible to be 1 for 19 against Valente Belloso. Now let me look further. There are little things that indicate a malaise and a lack of concentration. Trey Turner's error is inexcusable. He lollygagged that ground ball, which is an easy play to make, and he boots it. Now let's go to the ninth inning. And I know people don't look at these kind of things because at that point you're going, they're going to lose again. They're going to get shut out by the Miami Marlins. Alec Boehm hits a ground ball to the shortstop. Did you see him run to first base? It was like, I'm not even interested. Oh, my God. Oh, what's this so bad? He had that sour puss on his face, and he didn't run it out. That's the worst thing you can do when you close out a game. You're adding that malaise onto malaise. And these guys got to, somehow somebody has got to interject some energy into this team right now. And I know people go, well, it should be the manager. And you're right. It should be the manager. Now, I've been really supportive of Rob Thompson because I believe that with a veteran team, not changing things is the best way to go, and you trust your players to come out of it. But at this point, when you lose that kind of a game to a bad team and a pitcher who's like, come on, a rookie pitcher at home when the fan base actually was trying to bolster them up early in the game. Like when runners got scoring because you heard the crowd, they say, groundswell, somebody important's coming up. To lose 5-0 in a game against the Marlins is troubling to me. So now let's look at the playoff structure because I want to look at it. It's not too early to look at it. They're in the number 2 spot now. And they're in danger of losing the number 2 spot. But let's just look at they stay in the number 2 spot. Because, it seems like every other team is hotter than the Phillies. So let's just say they hold on to number 2. Well, they would play the winner of 6 and 3. Guess who that is right now? That's the Brew Crew at 3. They're good. They're playing really good baseball. They would have to beat the Milwaukee Brewers in the first round. Now, I know they have home field advantage, but the Brewers have pretty good pitching at the top. So let me move it on to Bill. I'm exasperated today. I got to be honest with you. I didn't think that I would turn on the Phillies that quickly. But I watched that game last night. It really galled me that Bohm didn't run that ball out. It's like, come on, man. You can't set an example like that to the rest of your team. Bill, what do you think?
Look, you were trying to be positive to start the week with this Phillies team.
Yes, I was.
And I still have fans coming at me saying they're still 6.5 up in the NL East. Everything's going to be fine. They're just in a slump. Mike, this isn't just a slump anymore.
No, it's a malaise.
Well, look, you could talk about the recency. Yeah, they've lost 4 in a row. They're 4-7 in August. They're the second worst team since the All-Star break at 7-16. I want to go back over the last 55 games, Mike. You're talking about more than 33% of the season. That's a third of the season. This team's 24-31. That's a .436 winning percentage. So as good as they were to start the year, 45-19, this is the best team we've ever seen in Major League Baseball. They're now 24-31 over their last 55.
There are little things. By the way, they're second to the Chicago frickin' White Sox.
Thank God for the White Sox.
With the record coming out of the All-Star break. There's certain things you look at and you go, okay, this is now troubling. Because you're looking to your leaders to do something. You need to have a better hitting game plan when you get runners in scoring position. If you're Turner, Harper, Bohm, Real Muto, Castillo, whatever it is, this guy should not be able to shut you out. It just shouldn't happen.
Mike, in the last 15 games, they only have 3 everyday players who are batting higher than 250.
Yeah, I know Harper's a smart enough hitter to figure it out.
He's batting 230.
I just don't understand what's going on with what they're thinking about with runners in scoring position. It shows that they're unprepared. That's the thing that I don't get. This is a good enough team to be prepared for every game. I don't understand how you can't be prepared for a rookie pitcher where you let him go 7 innings and only give up 4 hits and no runs, and he only walks 1.
Well, let me ask you,
he's in the strike zone. So if he's in the strike zone, he's nibble-bibbling the whole night. You know he's a nibble-bibbler. So you have to now adjust as a hitter accordingly.
So who do you put that on? Is it on the players? Is it on Kevin Long?
Definitely on the players. It's not on Kevin Long. Kevin Long can only do so much in preparation, right? When you get in the batter's box, it's you against the pitcher. And you got to be prepared for what this guy is throwing you. So a runner in scoring position, he's going to try to throw on the edges. So you need to expect that the ball's coming on the edges, and whether you have to pull that if it's on the inside part of the plate or if it's on the outside part of the plate and hit it the other way, you need to be prepared for what this guy has. First of all, you know he's not going to blow you away. So you take that out of the equation. It should be easier as a hitter to figure out what he's doing and you to put the ball in play when you need to put the ball in play with runners in scoring position.
So you're putting it on the players.
Absolutely.
But let's go to Topper real quick. Rob Thompson.
Yeah.
Look, that patient, even-keeled approach has worked with this team in the past. I need something different now.
Now you got to shake up the lineup. And I'm not really in favor of that. But now you got to shock them. It's like the pool that gets cloudy. You know, you don't want to put that overdose of chlorine in there, but you have to, right?
Look, sometimes this gets overblown, and I think he's got to start throwing chairs in the clubhouse.
And he's not. See, that players would look at that and go, "That's not him."
He's got to do something different.
You can't turn into a monster when you're not a monster, right? That doesn't. You can change the lineup. You can put him on notice by saying, "Okay, we're going to go here, Schwartz. Guess what? We're going to drop you down." And that gets them thinking. Now, that will overpower it because they know they're in a slump. When you move a guy, he doesn't like it. He likes the same routine. And he doesn't like to be told that you're not producing, so we're going to move you down in the lineup. But at this point, they know they're in a slump, so they know they need to be shocked.
Yes, but when you say that, you also got to look at Alec Boehm not running the ball out to first. Trey Turner with a lazy error. Yeah. Well, that's where I think Rob Thompson needs to maybe change who he is a little bit and make some noise in that clubhouse. Enough's enough of this.
Well, maybe he does, but it's so not him that players will look at that and go, "That's phony." So, like the leaders, like Trey Turner, I don't know. Maybe Harper has got to be a guy like there was always a guy in the Phillies clubhouse who wasn't afraid to say anything. Now Harper, I don't know if he has the clout to do it right now, but somebody who was a leader in that clubhouse, and I look at it and I go, all right, who can do it? Well, Schwarber and Harper can do it. Really, they're the only two guys. I don't think the manager could throw a chair or knock over a buffet table and have any effect on them. So we'll talk about it. We'll also get into some Eagle stuff. Dan Orlovsky was on with the boys in the morning, and he explained his position on Jalen Hurts. And it's very interesting stuff. Here's how you get in. Because I want Philly fans now to – I need to hear you. 610-632-0975 is how you get in. It's the Mike Missanelli Show. Back after this.
not bummed?
Yes.
First place
For this team, yes. Yeah.
There's a first place team up by 6.5 after tonight, and it could be 7 or 6, whatever.
I mean, as far as us, the fans, that want this team to do well, I mean.
The announcers are exasperated, that's for sure. Tom McCarthy, John Kruk last night. 10 o'clock hour, the Mike Missanelli Show is brought to you by Window Nation. Take advantage of Window Nation's 50% off sale on all styles of windows, plus make no down payment with no payments, no interest for 12 full months. Call this number. It's 866-90-NATION, or just visit windownation.com. All right, so here's the thing that is really bugging me. There's a if you put it in an equation, it's like hang dog versus we're okay. So when you're struggling, if you hang dog it, that rubs off on your teammates because they already know they're struggling. And so when you hang dog it, that's just a pronouncement that you're continuing to struggle. It doesn't do anything for you psychologically to bring you out of it. Now, if you run out of ground ball or if you concentrate on fielding a ground ball, that goes a long way. Even though you're still losing, it goes a long way that you're still playing the game right, and it's a message that, we're still okay. But when you hang dog it like Alec Boehm did in the 9th inning, and I know people say, well, he puts a bunch of emphasis on that because it's an indication of what they are right now. You're beat, all right? We know you're beat. It's the 9th inning. But you don't have to add on to that by having a hang dog face when you hit a couple hopper to shortstop, because then the players look at that and go, boy, yeah, man, we're really struggling. Look at that. And it's as much of a professional that you are, those little things can still hold you back as a professional. Now, I was looking at Valente Beloso's last few starts. I even heard Crux and McCarthy say it last night. He pitches backwards. And he pitches backwards, like he throws junk early in the count. And so if you're looking at his record and you're looking at his last few starts, his first start was against Kansas City a few weeks ago. He gave up 2 hits in 5 innings. His next start was against Boston. He gave up 7 hits. The next against Atlanta, he gave up 2 hits. All right, so he's still in that zone where people don't know him yet. But then by the 4th start, when he pitches against Cincinnati Reds, he gives up 5 hits in 5 and 2 innings. As a Philly player, you need to do your scouting, or whoever is preparing you. Most players, I think, have to take the initiative of looking at their own iPad to see what this guy's all about. He pitches backwards. So when you pitch backwards, you know early on you're going to get some junk curveball or some junk breaking ball that he's going to try to nibble on the corner. You know that. So your focus has to be, okay, this is what I'm going to get. You can't be fluxed by him. You see what he is.
See, I have a more alarming concern, Mike, than all of this. Is this team not as talented as we originally thought they were? And when you say that out loud, people immediately assume, oh, you're just overreacting. But really dive into this team right now. First of all, you look at the starting pitching. Yeah, Wheeler's a stud, Nola's a stud. You don't know what we're going to have in Ranger Suarez. You don't know what Christopher Sanchez is. Did he overperform to start the year? You certainly can't trust Walker. But then let's go to the lineup itself. The only positions that I would say are sure thing stars that aren't going to just continue this slump would be first base, Bryce Harper, and then what you're getting from third base and your DH. Those guys, Boehm and Schwarber, have played pretty well. Let's look at the other positions. Do you feel good about who's in left field? No. Do you feel good about who's in center field? No. Can you trust that Nick Castellanos will keep this up in right field, or will he hit one of those ridiculous slumps? Probably. What about your catcher? JT Realmuto doesn't look like the same guy he was before injury. What about your shortstop, Trey Turner? Well, we've seen him good for sometimes. We've seen him hit slumps that go on forever. I'm just looking at this team, and I am having real concerns. Are they not as good as we thought they were?
I think you might be going a tad too far.
I hope you're right.
They were a good enough team to show early in the season that they're a good team.
Did they overperform, though?
No. I think they overperformed. Listen, look at their lineup. They're a solid lineup. Now, you can pick apart their outfield. I get it. But they're a solid lineup. They've got professional hitters stacked in this lineup. And I understand that Marsh and Rojas and Castellanos not trustable. I get it. But they're good enough to be considered a good team. In the case of Turner, good hitters will go through slumps. They go through slumps, or they just lose it. And your mindset is, man, I'm never going to get a hit again. But I don't think I don't think we've overvalued them personnel wise. Is that what your point? If that is what your point is,
I get worried about JT. Hasn't been the same guy since the knee surgery. Mm-hmm. He's getting older, Mike.
Yeah, he is. There's nothing you can do about it. I think when the left fielder comes back, they'll be a little more solid, even though he hasn't been like totally impressive. But listen, it comes down to the Schwarber, Turner, Harper, Bohm situation at this point. Those guys have to produce. You can't be 1 for 19 against a rookie pitcher.
But you look at Schwarber and Bohm over the last 15. They have been. Schwarber's hitting 315, Bohm's hitting 286, and the team's still struggling. Now you need more from
Turner's
Harper.
dropped like 30 points from where he was.
He's batting 152 in the last 15
So this
games.
is what if I'm Rob Thompson, right now, after that last night, I saw like a dead-ass team. And that's different than a team that's just losing. They were dead-ass last night. And again, coming off a road trip, I get it. But you now, and he has been being asked about what he's going to do, and he's considering something. He said, yeah, maybe something has to be done.
I hated his answer.
Well, what's that? You did?
I couldn't. What? Yeah, do you have it? Do we have his response, Ray?
From last night?
Post game?
We got the turnaround conversation. I know we're going to turn around. That's what we got.
Oh, let's hear Rob.
Well, just because we've been through this before, maybe not this prolonged, but you look at the numbers on the back of their baseball cards, always bring that up. I believe in this team. They're resilient. They're tough. They care. I know we're going to turn around.
And that's what a manager should say. But now he has to implement something. And I do believe that now he's got to just change the lineup a tad. He's got to get their attention somehow. And he's not a guy that's going to yell and scream. So the only way you get your attention is when these guys come into the locker room and they look at who's in the lineup and they go, oh, boy. And maybe that shakes them a little bit. Maybe it angers them even a little bit. I think that's what you need right now.
He's got to do something, and I tweeted this out last night. Hope is not a plan, Mike, and I'm sick and tired of us all saying, well, hopefully they're going to get out of this slump. It's been going on for 55 games now. I need Rob Thompson, and what he said last night, too, was, well, are you thinking about changing up the lineup? I thought about it. You thinking about having a team meeting? I thought about it. Well, enough thinking, and let's do something.
He thought about it, and he's going to have to do it. I mean, he's not I think he gives them one more chance. I think he comes back with the same lineup tonight. And then if they don't respond, then he changes it up a little bit. But now if they do respond, everybody goes, okay, they're back. All right?
Yeah, but you say him being angry, it's not who he is.
Not who he is. A professional manager. He's not an angry guy.
But to me, that would make it even more meaningful. Because, look, you were calm 2 days ago. You're angry to start the show.
I'm angry. Yeah, I am angry because I don't like I don't like malaise. I don't think there's any excuse for malaise. I don't think there's any excuse for not having an offensive game plan as a hitter. I just don't understand that. It's not like you're playing the 27 Yankees. You know?
That's why, for me, I need a little bit more emotion.
I want to hear from Philly fans, damn it. What are Philly fans in a malaise?
We got a lot of people checking in on YouTube, that's for sure.
Well, we'll go to some texts and some YouTube comments, but I need to converse with you folks. 610-632-0975 is how you get in. The Mike Missanelli Show is back. 10:30. In the Delaware Valley on the Mike Missanelli Show. Yeah, these are hours that I'm not used to, so be patient with me. Well, I've got two studs with me, so I'm going to go to the two studs right now. Bill's been monitoring the YouTube comments because we are on YouTube live. Bill, what are they saying on YouTube?
Not good, Mike. So 215J Philly. I think we did overvalue the personnel. A lot of that coming in. Then I think they're bored. That's part of it. We have some people trying to be positive, saying they still have 40 games to turn it around and a +6 game cushion. But people are wanting change. A lot of people are saying that maybe hearing the same voice over and over again from Topper, they're starting to tune him out, and maybe they need a change of voice. I guess that's a call for Rob Thompson's job already.
Let's get right. We have text before I get into this rant. Let's hear what the text board's saying.
Well, they're also calling for jobs on the text board. Mike in Charleston was the first of a few people to check in with where is the hitting coach throughout all of this. We heard all about him when Marsh started the season hot, but I haven't heard anything about him since. And we've seen quite a few of these. Norm from Mayfair checking in. Time to shake the lineup up. Turner, Stott, Marsh, take a seat.
Take a seat for who?
That's the problem.
Who plays?
Well, Sosa should probably get some more opportunity.
He's been getting a lot of opportunities. He's fine. You're going to go to war in the playoffs with this team, right? Now, there are two things that just struck me here. We overvalued this team. Well, if that's the case, then we have absolutely no hope for the future. These guys are all veteran players. If we have overvalued this team, then what are they? They're not good enough in general, and they're all veteran players. So I don't want to even go there. We've overvalued them. Because that is a fatality.
Well, not necessarily. Look, I'm okay with Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber. I'm still thinking they're going to snap out of this. The questions that I have talking about overvaluing are, did we overvalue the outfield? Because Dombrowski, I don't think, did enough at the trade deadline. Austin Hayes, now we haven't seen him. Let's be fair, we haven't seen him. He had the hamstring injury. But you don't know what you have in center field with Brandon Marsh. Give Rojas more opportunities. At least the guy's batting 294 in his last 15. Marsh is batting 157. So at least give Rojas some chances.
Well, who are you going to play in left field? Are you talking about when Hayes comes back? Play Rojas as an everyday player? Against right-handers?
I'm willing to give it a shot.
Well, you think a lot more Rojas than I do.
I'm willing to give it a shot.
That gets right-handed pitching.
But when I say that maybe we overvalued the personnel, I'm not necessarily talking about Harper, Bohm, Schwarber. It's your outfield. It's your second base.
Listen, they came into the year with a bad plan in the outfield. They conned themselves basically into thinking they were going to be okay offensively. That's what they did. So that's a fatal mistake. But you can't go back now in time. Like, you can't do anything about it. There's probably nobody that they could have acquired that was going to fix this problem of a lack of production in the outfield. But they're still good enough that, like, they still have a 6-game cushion. They don't have a 6-game cushion on the playoffs.
What about the starting pitching, though, Mike?
Well, let me get to that. We said yesterday, the key is Ranger Suarez. If he comes back, they're fine. Taijuan Walker is going to kill you the rest of the year. Taijuan Walker, all right, first of all, his first 8 pitches of the 10 were balls. Now, if you're a player, you go, oh, Jesus, God. That's exactly what your reaction is if you're a player in the field. Because you're hoping that he can give you something. And what he does, he throws 8 balls in the first 10 pitches. And what do you hear after that? Boo! So Paul, right away, when your starting pitcher puts you in that kind of a hole, you bring out the negativity. That's why it was so important to get that off to a good start. When you throw him out there in game 1 of a homestand, you're crossing your fingers, and he let you down. He throws 92 miles an hour. Did you see where that home run pitch was? He threw a 92 mile an hour. I swear to God, I could hit that pitch in the gap.
You probably
I wouldn't
could.
hit it out, but I'd hit it in the gap.
It was the definition of a meatball.
Might as well have been on a tee.
It really. So listen, I don't even know what to say. at this point. But the 6.5 game cushion, I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe on winning the division, but you could still lose that seed.
The concern I have, you talk about the Brewers. The Phillies are only 2 up on the Brewers, but they're also only 2 up on the Diamondbacks. Yeah. They're only 2 up on the Padres. And guess what? The Diamondbacks and the Padres, 9-1 in their last 10, both of them. So both of them are playing good baseball.
They're the 2 seed right now, and they're going to play the winner of the Padres Brewers. Who you like? Who would you rather play?
Man, I'd probably take the Padres. Yeah. But they're not going to hold on to that 2 seed, man.
What, you think they're going to lose the division?
No.
You think Milwaukee's going to pass them? Oh, they're going to be the third division winner.
Milwaukee, Arizona, and San Diego are all 2 back.
They have a chance to be the 3rd seed.
Yeah, but Arizona and San Diego, the winner of the West likely is getting the bye.
The Dodgers will get the bye.
Diamondbacks, Padres.
The Brewers could get the 2 seed, which would make the Phillies the 3 seed, which means they would play the Padres in the first round. I'm not that worried about that series. To be honest with you,
3-game set.
The Padres, they crumble when they play the Phillies.
They have in the past. The issue is, like Ray just said, a 3-game set. There's a reason why you see so many upsets in the NCAA March Madness, because it's only 1 game.
2 of them are home, though.
2 of them were home at the end of the NLCS last year.
That's an aberration.
I would like this team to get a 7-game series, not a 3-game series.
All right.
You mean 5?
Oh, yeah, 5 is the first one.
Go to Hazleton. They're worried in Hazleton, all the way up there. John, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up?
Mikey, it's great to have you back. Someone with some intelligence that ain't afraid to call it like it is.
I don't know about intelligence, but
yeah, you got it, buddy. Anyway, let's start right at the top with Dombrowski. He, like you've been saying, the outfield. The outfield stinks from right, center, left. We got nothing out there. There's teams out there, playoff teams, like I'm just going to use them as an example, like the Yankees, that have 2 players that already have 50 homers. We don't even have 30 homers combined out there. It is pathetic. Our starting pitching is all year, starting pitching. We were playing double-A teams up until we went to England. Then when we came back from England, then we started playing good teams. And what happened? We started losing because our starting pitching ain't as great as Dombrowski thinks it is. Plus, like you were saying, and I agree 100%, these coaches, what are they doing sitting there? And text messages saying it's time for Topper's job. Topper's nothing but a bench coach. He's been a bench coach his whole career. He was given this team, and yes, the Phillies were hot at the time, and everybody thinks he's great. He don't have the whatever. We need somebody in there that is going to scream, yell.
John, I got to be honest with you. That doesn't work. Screaming at baseball players doesn't work. You don't.
Something's got to work.
Managers like that are gone. We find me a manager that does it anymore.
Yeah, you're right. But, Mike, what are we going to do with these guys? They fire the hitting coach?
Yeah, you just have to be patient. I love people that go, well, you got to fire the pitching coach, fire the hitting coach. Those guys, with all due respect, are almost irrelevant. Yeah, now they can point out some technical things. When you get into a batter's box, they can't help you. They can't help you. It doesn't matter. You've got to have a mindset. You've got to be an intelligent enough hitter to know what that guy is going to do to you. And Kevin Long is not going to rescue you when you get in the batter's box.
Yeah, but a little yelling can make sure you're running down the first.
You're a football guy. Yelling. You're used to yelling. Baseball's different. You can't yell at baseball players. You ruin their... Baseball's all about confidence, Bill, right?
Does this team have confidence right now?
You're being yelled at that you stink, and it's such a mental game. You get in the batter's box. Is yelling going to help you be a better hitter?
Whatever they're doing right now is not working, though.
I get it, but they're still a good team in a funk. Yelling is overrated. I know people love to go this way. They go, oh, you got to get tougher. You got to get a Larry Bowa guy in there, right?
Mike, here's the problem I have. You just referred to it as a funk. A lot of people keep calling it a slump, a funk. You're talking about now 55 games.
Can we stop at the 55 games, though?
Right.
We stop?
It's the reality.
They're 8-18 in their last 26. They're 10 games under 500. In that stretch, you put that against anything else the rest of the season, it's going to drag an average down. They were 16-13 in the beginning of this big 55-game stretch everyone keeps putting together. That winning percentage puts you pretty much on par with what you were when you won the pennant for a season. Like, this has been an exceptionally bad stretch. Obviously, it's been frustrating to watch night in and night out, but the last 26 games is really where this slump is. Before that stretch, you're looking at a team that was playing over 500 baseball.
Yes, but then you could also make the argument they were 45-19 to start the season.
Well, yeah, and you can't sustain that over a
Let me ask you a
season.
question. You think Kevin Long is not giving them the right message? Of course he's giving them the right message. He's got his two projects right now are Marsh and Stott. Both of them have had trouble hitting the ball to left center field as left-handed batters, right? You think Kevin Long is saying, hey, dude, listen, you got to wait, and if you recognize that a pitch is going to be on the outer half, that's where you got to go with it. Like he's giving them the fundamental instruction. Is that when you get in the batter's box, if you're a hitter, you go, okay, I got to wait for a pitch that I can handle to hit it to left center field. So if he throws me a pitch that splits the plate on the right side of the plate, then it's easy. It's easy peasy. It's all up to the hitter to decide if he wants to hit and how he can hit.
So you wouldn't make a single change?
I would right now. I would come back with the same lineup. We'll learn with the lineup. Well, when I used to do afternoons, we had the lineup, so maybe we don't get the lineup by the time I'm here. But I would send out the same lineup tonight. Who's pitching tonight for the Phillies?
Phillips. Right? It's Phillips.
It's Phillips, yeah.
Well, okay, I would have to cross my fingers.
Well, I trust him more than Walker.
I think Phillips may have hit a wall a little bit. So I would come back. I would do the same. I would come back with the same lineup tonight, and if it does not produce again, then it's time for change. And I shake it up a little bit. But I don't panic after the first home game when you haven't hit. You can't introduce panic to those guys. So you come back with the same lineup tonight. If they lose again to the Marlins, they can't say a thing. They can't feel put upon if he changes the lineup in that third game.
I'd make the change tonight. I don't know what the changes would be. I'd shake things up now. It's been bad for too long, man.
Guy, man. You are such a football
Mike, it's
guy.
not
You have football
one
mentality.
It's not just one game
You'd be a
anymore.
terrible golf coach, by the way.
I'm a terrible golfer. That's probably
you'd
why.
be a terrible golf coach. You take a pro and go, hit the ball straight. Let's go.
But Mike, I would be with you if this was 5 games. It's not 5 games anymore. And fine, the Rays point, don't talk about 55. Talk about 26 games. They're 8-18.
I get it.
They got to do something different.
Listen, we're not disagreeing here that something needs to be done. I wouldn't do it for tonight's lineup. I would give them one chance. The first game is always the funky game coming off a road trip.
I know, but all we heard...
If I'm a manager, Bob Thompson certainly knows that. He's been through enough of those kind of games. So he goes, you know what, if I do it now, that's not good. It's coming off a bad outing, and I'm introducing panic. But if Tuesday doesn't work out, guess what? They can't say a word.
Well, that's the last one against Miami. Then they have to play Washington at home, who they should beat.
Yeah,
they should definitely beat Washington.
The third game is the shake it up game. If they don't produce tonight, now I have a feeling they might win tonight, but they're going to have to win. Like they score 8 runs. Who pitching from Miami? It's Valente Bioso's cousin.
Yeah.
They're throwing him out there tonight.
He'll shut him down.
We got Edward Cabrera.
What's his record?
Record this season 2-3 with a 5.20 ERA.
They should meet him. This should be meet for them tonight.
Last night should have been meat.
All right, well, this is it. This is the game, Bill.
But you're saying that. All we heard was, just wait till we get home. Just wait until we're in our own beds at Citizens Bank Park.
You also know that the first game is always the malaise game. You know that. You've covered sports enough.
It is the malaise game, but not when you're playing this poorly. They should have been up for last night.
Linda and Bala, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Linda.
Oh, Chaluch, how the hell are you,
Whoa, what's up, man? What's up, Linda?
What an intro.
Son of a gun. I was telling the producer, now don't feel old, baby. The first time I talked to you, I was 39. I'm going to have my 76th birthday.
God bless you.
Wow.
God bless you, Linda.
Listen, God bless you, a breath of fresh air. Of course, you'll probably throw me off the air. But, honey, I was changing people 2 weeks ago. I can't look at Marsh and Stott no more, honey. They both have options. I'd send their little heinies down. I'm sorry.
But Linda, yeah, who then replaces them? I mean, let's be fair here. You don't have anybody to replace two guys like that. You got to ride them. You can send them to their minors.
Well, I like Sosa.
Oh, so you
we
want
could
Sosa to
get
be an
him.
everyday second baseman, and Stott doesn't play?
Well, we don't know that because they never done that.
Be careful
They
what
always-
you wish for, because Sosa is not an everyday player. I know people think he is. He's not. He can only function in this kind of a role.
Well, at this point, I'd put myself in there to play. What, are you kidding me? I can't look at this no more, Mike.
I hear you, Linda. I get it. Linda's upset. She called me Chaluch. What's up, Chaluch?
Chaluch.
That doesn't work because that's for Charlie.
So she's been listening to you for 38
You ever
years?
see the Pope of Greenwich Village?
I have. It's been a while, though.
That's what Eric Roberts called Mickey Rourke.
What, Chaluch?
What's up, Chaluch? I ran into Mickey Rourke once in Nobu in Miami.
He probably looked a lot different back then.
He looked like a train wreck.
Oh, he did.
But he was carrying a chihuahua. Mickey Rourke carries around a chihuahua.
His best movie's The Wrestler. Love that movie. You like that movie?
He looked grotesque in the rest.
Grotesque.
Right?
You know,
But when he
Marissa
was,
Tomei looked good in that movie.
she did in a public rally. He was coming up the stairs. I was going to the bathroom. You had to go downstairs. He was coming up. I was going down, and I look at this guy's carrying a chihuahua. I go, "That's Mickey Rourke." I go, "Oh, what's up, Mick?" What do you say?
Wait, how many years
what
ago?
Would you say to Mickey Rourke? That's my go-to line. Steven Tyler was behind me in a pizza line. Ray's Pizza, not Ray Dunn's Pizza, but Ray's Pizza in the Manhattan.
Wait, who looked worse in person? Steven Tyler or Mickey Rourke?
Mickey Rourke looked worse, but Steven Tyler was no day at the beach, right? I hear some people behind me. It's like an entourage that came in with him, and I'm waiting in line for a slice. And I turn around, and it's Steven Tyler, like right directly behind me. He's the next guy in line. So I go, "Hey, what's up, Steve?"
Oh, let's see.
That's my standard answer. Like, what would you say if you ran into somebody like that?
I'll usually just give him a what's up, or sometimes I'll just ignore him. Like maybe they don't want to be recognized. But let me see how young Ray is. Do you know who Steven Tyler is, Ray?
Yes.
Okay, good.
You do?
Yeah, if you ask me what Steven Tyler is, Steven Tyler's a musician. Got
Well,
that.
from what band?
Oh, now you.
Oh, my God.
See, that might be a violation. Right?
That
Listen,
is-
I know you're young,
Yeah.
but we're talking about one of the great, well, not one of the great, but one of the more legendary rock bands ever.
I thought he was going to say, yeah, he's Liv Tyler's dad.
No.
Aerosmith, Ray.
Okay, yeah. Well, I know Aerosmith. Steven Tyler, though. Come on. I can't name band members.
He's the lead singer.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got you on that one.
All the times that dude's been in the news, like even like you don't have to know he's in a band. He's been in such like newsy stuff.
You've ridden the rock and roller coaster in Disney,
I have.
probably.
Yeah.
That's where I thought you would have known him
No.
from.
All right, hey,
Right over the head.
he's a kid.
He is a kid.
Good kid.
He's
that
a good
kid,
kid, though.
He's a good kid. That kid. All right, 610-632-0975. Ooh, we have Tom from Alabama on the line. Tom is a regular Twitter follower of mine, and he's got a radical solution for the Phillies coming up. The Mike Missanelli Show continues on 97.5 The Fanatic.
97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Yeah, I'll think about it, but I mean, I think about it all the time, Is it time to do it? It depends on a lot of things. It depends on the attitude and where I think the guys' minds are at. And I think overall, they're very solid right now. They're frustrated, because they know that we're better than that. And
here we go. Yeah, I think the kid picked right up on Aerosmith.
Yeah, a little Aerosmith.
And also Rob Thompson from last night. It's 11 o'clock in Delaware Valley. It's the Mike Missanelli Show. Here's how you get in, 610-632-0975. So the vultures started to circle last night. The reporters, Skip, is it time for a lineup shakeup? Well, getting close. I am. How about a team meeting? Yeah, I'll think about it. I think about it all the time. There's a time to do it. Depends on a lot of things. Depends on the attitude and where the guys' minds are at. Oh, well, their minds are at last night. You see Bohm run out that ball in the ninth inning. You see Trey Turner with a lollygag on a ground ball. Where are their minds at? And he says, I think overall they're very solid right now. Woo! Come on, Rob. You can't say that. They're not very solid right now. You can't say that. There's more frustration for sure. We got to turn around and play better. Yeah. Text board is humming. What you got, Ray?
We got people looking for changes. AJ in Coatesville. Mike is exactly right. It's no fault of Schwarber and his 380 OBP, but for the betterment of the team and to shock the offense a bit, it's time to mix in Turner at the top, followed by Harper at 2, Bohm at 3, Schwarber at 4. Also, let's not forget how the pitching is coming back down to earth as well. Other than Wheeler, just about everyone else on the staff has been inconsistent at best. 40-plus games left. Let's hope come playoff time, this mid to late summer malaise is a distant memory.
I think they win tonight. And I think we're going to be singing a different tune tomorrow.
No matter what they do tonight, unless they win 15-0, I think people will still be concerned because, let's face it, it's Miami, Mike.
In fact, I might bet this game. I usually don't bet baseball.
What do we got? They got to be favored tonight by a ton.
My Bet Rivers account. They are minus 190 tonight.
Can I be honest about something?
What? That's
Last
a
night,
lock.
They flashed the graphic after the Marlins took the 2-0 lead of like the live odds, and I fell for it like a sucker.
Did you?
Oh yeah, I was like 2-0. Phillies getting plus odds against the Marlins team down 2-0 early in the game. This will be the game they come back to life. This entire city hasn't heard of the starting pitcher on the other side. This is the time they do it. I was so wrong. Jake Berger hit a home run like 2 minutes after I placed that bet.
You got him at minus 190.
Minus 190.
So I think I'd like to go with the minus 1.5 and get it at plus 112.
Minus 1.5. That's probably a good bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, they win tonight.
Probably.
Here we're doing all this bitching and moaning. They're going to win tonight, and we're going to have a different conversation tomorrow.
I'm still going to probably have this. Look, unless they come out and they absolutely dominate. Everybody hits. If that doesn't happen, I'm still not going to feel good tomorrow. It's Miami, Mike. It's the Marlins.
Yeah,
they should have.
But it's a you got to examine how they play. Like if they score 8 runs, you go okay. Well, then okay. And I think they're going to score 8 runs with the same lineup.
Well,
which means he's not going to change the lineup ever.
I would tinker with it, but to that texter, I'm keeping Schwarber at the leadoff spot. I'm done with that argument, that conversation. I like him there. He's not the problem right now. It's everybody else. So move some people around after Schwarber. Keep getting him as many at-bats as possible.
All right, let's get to Tom in Alabama. What's up, Tommy?
Yo, Mike. How you doing, man?
Good, man. How you doing?
Good. It's been too long, man. Too long. Yo, Bill, how you doing, brother?
What's going on, Tom?
Not much, man. Trying to get through this team. Just like you said, Thompson, he's not going to change anything because he never does. He's going to keep it the same, the lineup. He's not going to play any small ball because he's too analytically driven. For a guy that's been in baseball for over 50 years, it really disappoints me. Now, he has control of his players. I respect that. But he looks at a chart for every move. And that's not an old baseball, man. And you can't win like that if you ask me. You went from historic starting pitching to where Suarez gets hurt, Turnbull gets hurt, injuries come up. The bench is weak, the outfield's weak. Marsh and Stott, they 2 guys, we don't know where we're at either one of them. And Turner, that is going to be the worst contract in the history of the franchise. They need to figure out what they're going to do with him.
What, with Turner?
They need to move him to a position in which he could try to field.
Come on,
out.
Tom, come on, stop. You don't worry about guys like Turner or Harper. Why are you worried about what is
in the league, Mike, for defense?
No, he's not. Hey, listen, he has a lapse of concentration every now and then. What would you do to replace that? Where would you move him to a different position? What are you talking about here?
Well, I would think about it because
like where are you gonna move? Where would you move Turner to?
So either left field or right field.
You gonna throw a guy that never played the outfield in a major league pennant race? You're gonna throw him in the outfield?
I thought
you sound like that guy from the other station who made that stupid remark about him playing. He had to play right field.
He's
when
played
he came
the
back
outfield.
From injury.
It's just been a while. He did play outfield early in his career.
You can't put Trey Turner in the outfield. Come on.
He's costing us, man.
He's not costing you. He's still hitting almost 300 for crying out loud. You can't move Trey Turner.
Trey Turner hasn't played the outfield since 2016. He played 45 games in center.
You cannot take a major league player against major league competition and throw him. What is this, beer league softball?
Beer league.
You take the worst guy and throw him in right field.
Throw him right.
What is this?
That was always the
major
worst.
Leagues.
When you were in minor leagues, if they told you to get in right, you knew you weren't good.
Exactly.
But not this season. Not this season. But if Bryson Stott continues to struggle, I see a path where Turner's your second baseman and Aiden Miller's your starting shortstop. Not this year, though.
You're 3 years away from that.
Yeah, you're a couple years.
Aiden Miller.
But in the future.
His pants are still wet.
But look, Tom's looking for answers,
Plus,
Mike.
I got to be honest with you. I don't think he's a shortstop in the major leagues.
Who, Aiden Miller?
Yeah. I think he's going to be a third baseman in the major leagues.
Well, you got Bohm, though.
Well, you move Bohm.
Where are you moving in?
But see, this is where you got to be crafty. 2 years, 3 years down the road, you look at Aiden Miller. His body's only going to get a little bigger. I mean, he's a slugger. Sluggers don't usually stay at shortstop. Right now he is, but
if you moved him to third and you moved Bohm to first, where's Bryce? Is he the DH? What's happening to Schwarber?
Well, tell Bryce to go back in the outfield. Did he play there once upon a time, for crying out loud? Get him back in right field. His arm's healed.
So let me ask you then. Let's go way back.
Should they have kept 3 years down the road?
Should they have kept
relevant conversation?
Should they have kept Reese Hoskins at first and put Bryce in the outfield?
I would have. That was what on my podcast. I said I would have signed Reese Hoskins to a 1-year contract, which I think he would have been amenable to stay with the Phillies and prove his worth in 1 year to get a bigger contract. And I would have taken the chance to do that.
And then
I would have had Castellanos in left field.
Team looks a lot better right now if Reese is still in the lineup.
Well, of course it does. But they made the decision because they were afraid of Bryce Harper and that whole situation. Now, okay, he was your most important player. You had to accommodate him. I get it. We can't cry over these stuff now. We can't go back in the Wayback Machine.
Yeah, you're stealing a story for one story at one, man. Come on.
Oh, we got a one story at one. Oh, okay.
I'm going to have to take that out of the pile now.
Sorry about that. This is why you got to think on your feet, right? Yeah. You got to be mobile.
Oh, we'll be mobile. There's still more stories.
Let me switch it up a little bit because this Philly Yank's giving me agita, which in Italian means a sour stomach.
I knew that. Ray doesn't.
You know, Ray doesn't know that.
I knew that.
You know agita?
50% Italian.
There you go. He's 50%.
My grandmother had agita 4 or 5 days a week.
I got agita.
Yeah. Maron.
Yeah, Maron. Did you ever hear that Dama Rera? It's a typical Italian family, right? He goes, yeah, I got my Uncle Joe. Hey, Uncle Joe, how you doing? My daughter's married to a friggin' loser. My wife's on my case, and I got a rash on my butt so bad I can't sit down. But you know me, I can't complain.
I can't complain.
That's a typical Italian.
Or I can complain, but who will listen?
Yeah, you're right. If I didn't have a bad luck, I would have no luck at all. Josh in the Poconos. You're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Josh.
What's up,
What's
Mike?
up, Josh? How you doing?
Hey, man, listened to you for a long time. Glad you're back.
Thanks, buddy.
But what do you mean Sosa is not an
everyday player? Come on, man. Josh, you got to read the tea leaves here. He's not an everyday player. He had a chance to be an everyday player with the St. Louis Cardinals. That's why they moved him. When they make him an everyday player here, he doesn't. He's not going to produce like he does as a part-time player. There are some guys that are everyday players and some guys that aren't.
How did he do when he had his stint when Turner was out.
But that's still part
He did
time.
good.
It's
He did
part,
good, though.
but it's part time. It doesn't turn you into an everyday player when you come in and have like a month of good play.
I think he played pretty good.
Baseball
for that month,
people will tell you, Josh, that he's not an everyday player. If he was, he would have stuck with the Cardinals.
But Mike,
I think he's
I'm
the
with
same
Josh
case.
though. Josh, I'm with you, man. I'd rather see Sosa than Stott.
Yeah.
Mike, I agree with you. He's proven he can't be an everyday player in the past, but right now,
Sosa, you have to measure that they play Sosa against left-handers.
Well, I think let's talk about measuring. You want to measure? They measured this year. He had his time, and he did good during his time.
Yeah,
that was a good measure. Right now, they're not doing good.
He did good against left-handed pitching. That's why he's a part-time player. You can't. You have to project guys that are everyday players that can hit lefties and righties.
hold on, Josh, I got you here, Mike. But listen to this: Bryson Stott against righties this year is batting .232. Edmundo Sosa versus righties is batting .266.
Okay,
I'd rather have Sosa,
but that doesn't mean he's an everyday player.
But Stott doesn't look like one either.
Who's got a higher upside? Is it Stott or is it Sosa?
Sosa.
Yeah.
Stott had his moment
Come on, Josh,
ago.
come on.
Think about
Seriously, you're talking about a pedigree player in Stott.
At this point, he's not pedigree.
Yeah, but 2 years ago, we were talking about this guy could win a batting title. So he's hit a little bit of a wall. You never said that about Sosa. He can win a batting title.
How long's the wall? Is the wall the full season?
Well, it might be. Guys have funky years every now and then.
Yeah,
I don't know, but your position, like it's easy to say, "Oh, there's like Sosa in there." All right, I get it, but I just don't think around baseball he's considered an everyday player.
But Mike, I'm also saying this. I'm not saying that. I like Stott's upside better, and I agree with you. I think in longevity, Stott is much better than Sosa. I will agree with you on that. But at this point right now, they need help. And Stott is not doing it.
All right, so you're going to tell me you would, if you're Rob Thompson, this is the move you make, you would make Sosa an everyday second baseman.
For the rest of the season, yes.
Okay, and Stott becomes what? What is he? You have wasted a player completely.
Also, to jump in on this, when we go numbers on you, 213 batting average against right-handed starting pitching. Talking about the 18 starts he's made against right-handed. Yes.
Well, and see, this is why you got to look at it and go. So as fans look at it and they react because they see Sosa, he plays well every now and then. But there's like baseball people look at a guy and go, okay, well, he is this. They don't trust him to be an everyday player. The Cardinals had him at a younger age.
The platooning I don't have a problem with.
What did they get when they traded Sosa here? Who did the Cardinals get next?
Joe Romero.
Jojo Romero.
A lefty that slugged Red Bulls when he came out of the bullpen.
All right.
But wait, hold on. You said, what's Sosa hitting against starters?
Right-handed starters, 213.
I don't have it broken down by lefty-righty, but Stott's hitting 214 against starting pitching.
Okay, I'll go find the Stott numbers. I could just tell you that
against left-handers?
Overall, 214.
All right, so you got a guy can't hit lefties in Stott right now, and you got a guy can't hit righties in Sosa.
Well, Stott can't hit anybody right now. Stott's hit 115 in the last 7.
But are you telling me you trust Sosa more than Stott
right
to
now?
Be a major league player?
Right now, yes.
Oh.
I'm with you.
You're reactionary. But you're the anti-Rob Thompson.
Mike, it would be reactionary if it was 10 games, 30 games. It's been the whole season.
Okay. All right. So then what, again, I'll go, where do you then use Stott? Because he's not a utility player. You can't use Stott like you can use Sosa around the infield. You would have wasted him.
I'd at least sit him down for a couple games.
All right. 610-632-0975. You got me thinking about Mickey Rourke. I got Mickey's top 5 movies on the other side.
Oh, all right. I'm looking.
You know how many movies he's done? Give me a number as we go into the break. Give me a number. How many movies Mickey Rourke has done?
6.
6? You're 89 off.
Has he done that many?
Yes.
I could probably name 6.
All right. Mike Missanelli Show is back after this. You know who Steven Tyler was? Oh, man. Audio Slave, dude.
You like Audio Slave?
Oh, keep playing this, Ray. Chris Cornell's the best rock singer of all time. You agree?
All time? No.
No? Oh, we don't have the voice. This is just the intro. You don't have Chris Cornell as your number one rock voice of all time?
I got to think about who I would put at the top.
Well, think about it right now.
Best rock voice of all time. Put me on the spot here.
Of course. You're the one that said Chris Cornell. It wasn't. You must have somebody in mind.
Obviously, Steven Tyler.
Well,
You got Steven Tyler on your top list?
no. Steven Tyler's voice was a lot better when he sang Dream On until he
Yeah, no.
destroyed his voice. I'm going to have to think about it. I don't have somebody
I'll give you
off.
time to think about it.
I don't have somebody off.
All right, I got to switch this up now with Jalen Hurts because Orlovsky says a lot of things. A lot of people blanch at the stuff he says, and he didn't have Jalen Hurts in any of his top 10 categories. So he was on with Kincade Salciunas, and he says that Jalen Hurts is more of a question mark to him than a known commodity. Let's hear what Orlovsky said here, Ray.
Right now, Jalen, for me, is a little bit more of a question mark than a known commodity. And what I mean by that is, with the new offensive coordinator coming off of the season that he had, we don't know exactly how he's going to transition into this new offense and exactly who he is as a player. We have one unbelievably dominant season back in 2022 when he played at an MVP level, and everyone knows, and obviously in the Super Bowl, might have won Super Bowl MVP. And then last year was, I don't want to say the complete opposite of that, but a significant opposite of that, where he really struggled. And was he injured? Was he not? All that. And so we've got those two seasons that are kind of the opposites of each other with a player going into a new offense. And then for me, I'm sitting there going, okay, I want to see kind of what he is in this offense. Are they going to run him as much? All that. So,
all right. Well, that's fair. I think it's fair.
It is. The only thing I would disagree when he goes almost as far as saying it was a complete opposite from what you saw in 2022. Like, Jalen wasn't as good last year as he was the year before, but I also don't think it was as terrible as some people make it out to be. Because if you do believe that Brian Johnson wasn't a very good offensive coordinator and Nick Sirianni didn't have any answers for that offense and against the blitz, then the fact that Jalen was able to do what he did, to me, signals, well, that's pretty impressive then. Mm-hmm. Because his numbers weren't that much different from the year before. The turnovers were up. That was a problem. Too many interceptions. And he needs to be better, but was it terrible? Did you think Jalen was terrible last year?
At times, I thought he was terrible.
At times, yes.
Yeah, I think he lost his focus completely.
But how much do you blame that? How much do you blame that on?
He's still filling his cup, though.
He's still filling his cup.
Or his cup of knowledge.
The cup's not full yet.
Did you see Brandon Graham from yesterday? Said that Jalen Hurts has an entire new and improved view of life?
Oh, no.
Well, what? It wasn't improved before?
I don't know.
I mean, his outlook of life is, I think, what's, stands him out. No?
The quote is, after practice, Brandon Graham said, Jalen Hurts has a new and improved view of life. And then he goes on to say some things about how he's more comfortable. And then he says it again. But you can tell that he got a new and improved view of just life this year. And I'm excited for him because you could tell he's excited.
Wow.
You got to try and be the coffee bean.
Oh, somebody messaged me about the coffee bean thing. Mm-hmm. Apparently, there's a whole book. Hold on, I got to get you this. That Jalen Hurts, all of his sayings are basically from this book. I may have to buy
really?
it.
Oh, come on. He didn't make them up himself?
We should have a dramatic reading of that book.
It's called How to Be a Coffee Bean.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of it.
Try and be the coffee bean.
111 life-changing ways to create positive change.
I don't mind that you have a weird quarterback. Randall was weird.
Keep the main thing the main thing.
But
main thing.
And the main thing. I actually don't think Jalen was terrible for the whole season last year. I'm with you. At times he was terrible. I don't think he trusted his coaches. I think he was battling a knee injury. We saw him wearing that knee brace. He needs to be better. Uh-huh. But to say it was a complete change from 2022, I won't go that far.
All right. Let's hear more of Orlovsky. The list he put in, he doesn't have Jalen Hurts in the top 10 of any of his traits. And here's how he addresses that one.
Jalen is, when I did the top 5 NFC quarterbacks a couple weeks ago, everyone lost their minds that both Dak Prescott and Jalen weren't in the top 5. And I had Goff and Cousins at 4 and 5, respectfully. And I was like, listen, you're probably taking those guys, specifically 3 or 4 of them, and interchanging them if you want. Jalen was in there the year before, coming off of the 22 season when he was unbelievable. But because of the performance of last year and some of the things that happened and the way that he played, I don't think he's top 5 right now, no.
Well, I have to agree with him.
Top 5.
I hate being in a state of flux where I have to wonder if my quarterback's good enough or my head coach is good enough. I hate that. I want to know, Bill.
Yeah.
And now I don't even know about the Phillies.
There's a lot of unknowns, Mike.
His top 5, like the bottom 2, includes Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, and then he mentioned Prescott and Hurts. Is there a world where you don't see him top 5 when those 4 are the ones fighting for the last 2 spots?
Wait, was he talking about overall, or was he talking about a specific?
No, he was talking. His
trait?
overall top 5 in the NFC included Goff and Cousins in the 4 and 5 spots.
I wouldn't put guy. What is he like? Cousins?
See, I do have Hurts in my top 5. Certainly in the top 5 of the NFC. I think I'd put him in the top 5 of the NFL. To be honest with you,
I have to look at that on the other side. Also, look at your rock singers. So
I got my rock singer.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
I'll give you my list, and we'll hold yours. This is the prohibitive list.
That I can't say?
No, this is my list.
Oh, okay.
The prohibitive list. I don't think you can argue this. Chris Cornell, number 1. Freddie Mercury, number 2.
Ooh, Freddie Mercury's pretty good.
Steve Perry, number 3. Axl Rose, number 4. Robert Plant, number 5.
So Robert Plant would be my fave.
He would be your number 1?
Yeah, I think he'd be my number 1.
But that's all falsetto.
Steve Perry was pretty good.
You got an all falsetto guy in your number 1. That's not. See, you're not thinking it through.
Some classics though.
But it doesn't matter. It's all falsetto.
Wait, didn't Robert Plant after Led Zeppelin? Didn't he go and have his own thing?
Yeah, he did it with Alison Krauss.
The Honeycombs or something. What were they called?
Oh, yeah, the honey
dippers.
Honey dippers. Yeah, Paul Schaefer was in that. I think. 610-632-0975 is how you get in. We have had very light phone calls over the last couple of days, and I'm not used to that.
You never gave your top Mickey Rourke movies.
That's coming, too. Top Mickey Rourke movies coming also right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. 11:32. It's Mike Missanelli Show. I can give you my email address. My new email address here is mike.miss@bbgi.com. I think it's that. But I logged in. It was michael.missanelli.
So it's not what it was.
So
As someone that sent you an email yesterday, I think Mike.miss does work.
All right, Mike.miss does work.
As long as you saw that email, so I think that came through.
Okay, yeah, I hadn't logged into my email until just now.
All right.
I didn't. I really didn't know how to do it.
We copied both your
until
emails.
Bill helped me out here.
Well, there you go. People helping people.
All right. Bill, you got your top 5 rock singers?
Top 5. Now, I don't have them in necessarily any order.
You got to have them in order.
All right, I'll go.
I have them in order of preference.
All right, I'll go Robert Plant 1.
Robert Plant 1.
I will go. I'm going to go. Would you include Prince as a rock?
Absolutely.
So I'm going 2 Prince.
Prince, okay.
3.
I'm not mad at that.
I'm a big Van Morrison guy. I'll go with Van Morrison at 3.
Van Morrison.
Tom Petty at 4. Love Tom Petty.
Yeah,
I like the sound.
All right.
And then how about Jim Morrison from the Doors?
Pretty good.
5?
You see, that's an underrated one. A
Love
lot
Jim
of people do not put him on that list, but I'll give you credit for that.
So I got exposed to the
one.
Doors when I was in high school and fell in love with them. Thought they were great.
I liked them too. I was big into Doors back in the day.
So they were popular when you were in high school, probably. That was probably when they were making their hits. Me, I was getting their greatest hits 20 years later.
Yeah, probably. Riders on the Storm. Boom. I love that. That's a great song.
Mr. Mojo Rising.
Yeah, he was nuts. Yeah.
He was a little crazy.
Taking out his willy during the concerts.
Yeah, he was a little crazy.
Other than that, he was fine. All right, so Mickey Rourke. We were back to him. Just before we get back to the phones, which is 610-622-0975. So Mickey Rourke, Ray has no knowledge of Mickey Rourke, right? Ray?
The wrestler. Iron Man 2.
Yeah, I see. Oh, okay.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. So the wrestler, did he win an Oscar for that?
I think he did.
I think he might have. So you got to go number 1 for the wrestler, for Mickey Rourke, right? But number 2 is the Pope of Greenwich Village for me, which I know a lot of people haven't seen. If you have not seen the Pope of Greenwich Village, I think you will enjoy it immensely.
I'm going to watch it tonight because it's been a while.
With Eric Roberts as his crazy cousin and his girlfriend in the Pope of Greenwich Village was Daryl Hannah in an early Daryl Hannah role.
Yeah, I'm going to have to watch it tonight.
All right.
By the way, the wrestler, Mickey Rourke and Marissa Tomei were nominated for an Oscar. They did not win.
Oh, really? Okay. 9.5 weeks?
Oh, that one's... Is that rated NC-17? That one's pretty risky.
Co-star.
Or risque,
Co-star Kim Basinger in her heyday.
Yeah, Ray, if you haven't seen 9.5 Weeks.
He was also in Man on Fire.
Great movie with Denzel.
There you go, Denzel movie. And then my number 5 for him would be Angel Heart.
Never saw it.
Never saw Angel Heart?
No.
See, Angel Heart, De Niro is the Angel Heart as the devil. His name was Lou Cypher. Now say that fast.
Lucifer.
There you go. And Lisa Bonet was the love interest in that. In her day.
Angel Heart, set in 1955 New Orleans.
Yes.
All right, I got to check
very
that
spooky.
out, too. All right, I got to make a list of movies, right?
There you go. That's
You
Mickey
think you
Rourke.
got to make a list
now,
of movies.
Now, Mickey Rourke also did here's 2 underrated movies that I'll give you. He did his first movie is called Diner. You see Diner. There was Steve Guttenberg was getting married, and he put her through a test at the Baltimore Colts.
Talk about an 80s actor.
Yeah.
Guttenberg.
She had to pass the football test. It was the Baltimore Colts at the time for him to marry her. That was the stipulation. And then Body Heat.
Never saw it.
Oh, man. With Kathleen Turner in her day.
Now,
John Hurt.
I'm seeing here, and I forgot.
William Hurt. I think it's William Hurt.
I forgot Mickey Rourke was in The Rainmaker.
Yeah, he was.
I forgot about
He's done 95 movies. 95. Most of them were crap. I just picked 5 of them out.
He was in Double Team with Dennis Rodman and Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yes, he was. He made a lot of bad paychecks. All right, let's go to Jeff in Wilmington. Jeff, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Jeff.
Mike.
What's
dude,
up, Jeffy?
What's happening,
What's
brother?
going on?
Oh, my gosh, man. I want to congratulate you, excuse me, for coming back on. I wanted to call you on Monday, but I had things going on. But, man, this is nostalgic having you back, man. It hasn't been the same without you, brother. So I'm happy you're back, and I'm going to be listening to you.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that. Thank you.
But, yeah, so sports, man, we can talk for days, all this different stuff. I think right now the Birds should be interesting. I think with Hurts, he's got a different mentality this time. The man got paid. I'm really wanting to see how they do without Kelsey this year. That will be a really big determinant, moving the line. But
well, you know what's interesting about? I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up, Jeff, because yesterday they leaked a little bit. That offensive line was leaky against their pass rush. Apparently, the Patriots got to the quarterback a lot yesterday in that joint practice.
Yeah, I mean, Kelsey, man, honestly, I'm going to be biased, but he's probably the best center of all time, given his, stature and all that. But, we'll see. I mean, again, this comes back to the Giants, too, how we utilize Saquon. And if we can't move the line, he's not going to be any type of player. So, we'll
that's a legitimate concern. It really is. When you change the center, who's been used to making all the calls, and you get a new guy in there, and then you get a new guy right guard, you got to worry about chemistry, all that kind of stuff.
Yep. Yes, sir. Well, congrats again, Mike. Really happy for you, man.
All right, Jeff.
Really happy.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Felix on a cell. What's up, Felix?
Hey, good afternoon, Mike, man. Just want to echo those. Actually, it's good morning still.
It is the morning.
Comments. Yeah. Hey, welcome back. You're one of the staples of the community, bro. Between you, Mr. Cuzzo, also. But I want to talk about the Eagles real quick. I don't need a top 5 quarterback with the weapons I got. So as long as Jalen takes care of the football, I'm good with that.
I agree. Listen, Dan Orlovsky's ranking system doesn't mean a hell of a lot to me because you're evaluating the guy coming off of kind of a down year, and the same criteria doesn't apply. They may come out gangbusters here. We just don't know.
Exactly. So other thing is, man, I need to get your opinion on this. So at the trade deadline, it's too late now, and I'm crying over spilled milk. But if we got a chance to get a team better by getting maybe like a first baseman, like I'm thinking about Vladimir Guerrero from the Blue Jays, I thought he was gettable. Why is it that Bryce Harper is like untouchable and can't go back to the outfield? What makes Trey Turner?
They have made a
not going to make anybody forget about like a really good Gold Glove shortstop. Why can't he like move the position and go to the outfield and bring up the kid from down the minor leagues, Miller? So I don't.
Well, first of all, Aiden Miller's in single A, so you're not gonna. He's not ready to play in the big leagues.
It's a baseball, man.
No. Yeah, baseball is really a hard thing. You can't expect that a kid in A ball is going to be able to be in the major leagues. You can't also expect that you would move Trey Turner to the outfield. You can't think like that. It's not feasible to think stuff like that. Now the Harper thing, okay. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, to be honest with you. But they decided to get the best out of Harper. They would lessen the load on him by making him a first baseman. Now, when you think about the philosophy, it's not a bad philosophy. But you also, when you do that, you got to count on your other outfielders being adequate enough. And they weren't. They started the season not knowing about Rojas yet.
I get it, Mike, man. Like, I'm really frustrated. I know you are too as a fan. Man, the vibe guys, vibes don't mean nothing for me when I got a couple men on base and I need a base hit. You know what I mean?
You're absolutely right. We talked about this earlier in the show. I think I don't understand how hitters, good hitters, accomplished professionals like the Phillies have in the order, were able to get fluxed by a rookie pitcher who pitches backwards. That's what I don't get. Because Kevin Long, if he's worth the salt, is telling them the same thing. This guy pitches backwards, though, so expect breaking balls early in the count, and sit on a breaking ball in a certain location. That's a player has to figure that out. And so he can't not only just listen to a hitting coach, he needs to do his own prep. These guys all have iPads. You see it?
But that's why I need Rob Thompson to start calling some people out. Charlie Manuel did it. Mike, look, Manuel was a very likable guy.
But your idea of calling somebody out is a football coach mentality. Well, if you're telling me that calling people out is, hey, here's an iPad. This is Bayoso on the flight. Get prepared. I need you guys to be prepared the way this guy pitches. If you're saying that, then I'm with you. If you're saying, let's go, let's start hitting, then I'm not with you.
Here's what I'm talking about. I quick Google search, 2011. Charlie Manuel comes out to the media and says, it's not Milt Thompson's fault. He doesn't do the hitting. You got to hold people accountable. And then he goes on to say to the players, you're the one making the outs. That's how I look up at it. It's up to you to master your hitting. If you listen and you learn, the more you play, you should know something about yourself.
You raised a good point, because Charlie Manuel would occasionally put a boot up their rear ends.
And that's what this team needs.
And he was honest about it. But they had so much respect for Charlie that resonated with him. If Thompson does, Charlie would do that every now and then. So it wasn't like it was foreign. So you're telling me that Thompson has to start doing that. Now, the first time he does that, they're going to go, what's he doing? That's not Rob. Right? Charlie had a reputation that he would do that every now and then. Rob Thompson doesn't have that reputation. So it would come off as unnatural to ball players who, like, I don't know, they've been in the league too long to fall for something like that.
I agree with you under normal circumstances, but you're talking about a stretch right now. This 8-18 stretch is the worst this team has played since 2018. You got to go all the way back to 2018 for a worse stretch. So for me, it's time to get out of character a little bit.
Okay,
Rob Thompson.
So you're saying introduce panic into what's already panic.
Not panic, accountability. Instead of saying, like we heard coming out of the break earlier, yeah, I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. To me, as a parent, Mike, you're a parent. That's like saying to your kid, one more time, I'm coming up there. Do it again, I'm coming up there. It doesn't work. Do something.
Did you get that a lot?
No, I do it to my kids. They don't listen.
Oh, you do?
They don't listen. Don't make me come up there.
Ray, did you get that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Except I listened to the one more time. I don't want to know. I do not want to know.
You don't seem like you would be a renegade kid. I think you're probably pretty easy to manage, right?
Yeah, but also that came from a level of, I don't want to find out what the other side of that would be.
Okay.
So Ray has wonderful parents. I met him at a Sixers game when we did our knockout.
Yeah.
The only problem is half his family are New York fans.
Oh, what?
My mom's from North Jersey.
Oh, that's okay. That's a
Giants
line. That's a line of demarcation.
Yeah.
And they're allowed to be because they're from there.
Yeah.
Not like the Cowboys fans
I
who
have
grew up
very
here.
specific rules on fandom.
Same. If you're from there, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Pope of Greenwich Village. My grandmother's actually from Greenwich Village.
Is she really?
Yeah. Like that side of the family.
Well, you need to watch that.
Yeah, no, now I need to watch. I literally have it written down. It's the top of the list of when you're going through movies
the
there.
quiz, you got to tell me what artificial inspiration is.
Sounds good.
All right.
Get back to that.
It's got to land. Do you know what artificial inspiration is?
I do not.
At Public Greenwich Village, you've seen it, right?
If I thought I saw it and I just looked it up, I don't think I have. I'm going to go see it tonight. No, I'm going to go watch it tonight because I don't think I've seen it.
All right, let's go to Lance in Arizona. Lance, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Lance.
Hey, Mike. Welcome back.
What's up, Lance? How you doing?
Oh, I could be doing better. With the Phillies, I kind of look at it this way, and I've talked to Ray about this on the weekends before. Like, they look like back in 2021 and 2022, the beginning of the year, when they played under Girardi, where they played bad baseball for a while, and then they give you this flash. Like, oh, they're turning it around, and then boom, like 2 or 3 games later, they're right back to where they are, and they need something to get them out of it.
Yeah, I agree. And so that's just what Bill's saying. You need, the manager has to take the bull by the horns here, to use a bad cliche. I'm worried about, when I looked at that game last night, that they are they're playing with a bad malaise. It's really troubling to see their body language. Yeah, it wasn't good. The body language when Turner makes an error. The body language when Taijuan Walker got him off to a bad start. The body language of grounding out in the 9th inning. That's all bad stuff, and that needs to change.
Oh, 100%. And like, the thing that bothers me the most, like, I don't know how you felt about their offseason, but I sat there and I said to myself, they need another bat. Like, I thought in the NLCS, like, I went to a couple of games that were here in Arizona. I went to them. I thought Game 3 and Game 4 were winnable games. The bullpen didn't help them. They lost it. Kimbrel lost. But, like, you have a bat in that lineup. In the middle of that lineup might have been the difference. It was a one-run in those games. Like, not having Rhys Hoskins, and I'm not saying Rhys Hoskins was the answer, just his production is enough that you're missing. That's a missing piece that you don't have right now. That 30 home runs, 80 RBIs, it matters when you take that away.
I totally agree. They need, like, for them to look at their outfield coming into the year, they needed a right-handed bat to play left field. They needed a right-handed bat with pop. And they did not. They trusted, first of all, Christian Pache is not a major league player. All right?
Terrible.
He's had plenty of chances now to be a major league player. You see his at-bats last night?
He's terrible.
He stinks. He's not a major league player.
This man was a bona fide scrub. He can't play.
He can't play. He's like now he's been tossed around 4 organizations, and he's still young. He can't play. So they were counting on Pache to be in this rotation with Marsh and Rojas. Now, all right, I don't know. I don't have a PhD in baseball, but I know the game pretty well. And I'm looking at it and going, you need a right-handed batter with pop. You can't trust this. You can't trust Rojas coming into the season to give you offense. You can't trust Pache. I didn't get what they were looking at there.
And I have...
Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. I forgot he was still on the line.
The thing that bothered me at the trade deadline was the fact that they just went back to, well, we got Hayes, so now we're just going to play Marsh every day, even though Marsh had shown you he can't play every day. Like, where was the trust coming from?
No. The plan was they were going to play Hayes every day. And then Marsh and Rojas would split center field, which is what they're doing. When he comes back, that's what it'll be. But, see, Rojas is not... And Rojas is now going to face left-handers. He's not going to hit against left-handers. Marsh can't hit left-handers. They've tried. They know Rojas can't hit. So they've tried. They've interspersed a little more Marsh against lefties. But they're just crossing their fingers.
But you know what Rojas has given you? And I know this isn't baseball, but at least he's brought some energy, Mike. When Rojas has played, at least you see him running out a single or going from first to third, taking home on a pass ball. The guy's at least playing with energy.
Not a fan.
You're not getting that from anybody.
Not a fan.
Well, look, you could live with Rojas.
You got to be a hitter, and I don't care what people say. Oh, he catches everything, and if he can hit 230, he's going to kill you in the playoffs in a big spot.
But you could live with him if you were getting more from your other 8 hitters.
I don't think you can. See, I didn't think you could live with him. And people keep saying you can live with him. I go, no. Here's what you do. You start him in AAA. Instead, they had to start him up here. Then they had to take him back to AAA, and they bring him up again. Start him in AAA. Let him learn to get some confidence. Hitting is about confidence. In AAA, he might have some confidence that he's a hitter. He doesn't have any confidence up here he's a hitter.
Mike, in the last 15 games, he's got a better batting average than Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, Bryson Stott, JT Realmuto.
You love these little samples to judge a player. It's a little sample. Look at the overall player.
Bryson Stott this year is
trust him in the playoffs,
230?
Rojas? You going to really trust him?
I'll trust him as a defensive outfielder. I'll bring him in for a defensive
anybody
switch.
trusts him as a defensive outfielder,
No.
but that's not enough.
But here's the problem. I'm with you. They needed a big right-handed bat. They didn't get it.
No, they didn't get it, and that's on Dombrowski. To come into the season hoping that you had enough offensive outfielders was ridiculous. Mike Missanelli Show continues on 97.5 The Fanatic. Noontime.
This is Offspring, isn't it?
Oh, it is Offspring. That's right. That's my bad. Oh, man, sorry. I'm big bad mistake by me.
That's
Thanks
a big
for correcting
miss.
that.
That's a big miss.
Total big miss. It is noon in the Delaware Valley, and you know what that means on the Mike Missanelli Show. We do what's called the News at Noon with the kid. Ray Dunn.
There's a whole lot going on in this world. It's time to catch up. Here's the News at Noon. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
All right, a couple fun stories today. A lot of weird in today's. We're keeping it sports, but just weird when we get to the end of this. We'll start in baseball with a less weird story, but an all-time great story here. 2015 Philly. You might remember more as a Brave. Jeff Francoeur has an all-time story from spring training back in 2006. He was on a podcast with Tim Kirchin, and this one, I know Bobby Cox is never going to get love in this town, but he should get a little love for this story.
I've been lucky enough. I've met President Bush, President Obama. I was not nearly as starstruck as I was when I met Tiger Woods for the first time. But what the coolest Bobby Cox story is, guys, is Bobby during spring training loved us to play golf, loved us. We were playing the Yankees at 1 o'clock on a day game. And I was 22 years old. I had been playing for 3 months as a starter. I was not going to go up to Bobby and be like, hey, I need the day off, right? But he comes out to stretch and goes, Smoltz, he said you had a chance to play with Tiger today. There was a 150 tee time. And I'm like, Bobby, I'm fine. I'm playing today. He goes, no, I'll make you a deal. He said, after your first at bat today, run through first base and kind of rub your ankle a little bit like you hurt your ankle. And he's like, in 2 days, we're going to Bradenton. And Tim, you have to have 3 starters make a road trip.
Sure.
And he's like, I hate Bradenton's infield. I don't want to get any of the guys hurt. So if you go to Bradenton, I'll let you go play with Tiger today. So sure enough, man, we're playing the Yankees, 13,000 people in Orlando. I ground out the first at bat. I run through first and I start rubbing my ankle. And, Bobby, he waddles out there with his cleats and he checks on me. I run inside. I literally throw my golf clothes on. I didn't shower. I get to the golf course and they're on the first fairway. So I hit my tee shot. We end up playing 27 holes. And about 4:30, my wife sends me a little thing that there was an update that said Francoeur day-to-day with a high ankle sprain.
That's great.
Pretty good. That is pretty good. I give Bobby Cox some credit there. Well, spring training game, we care.
And Bobby Cox recognized to have a chance to play with Tiger.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. How would you relish playing with Tiger?
I'd love to play with Tiger.
Yeah, I couldn't.
You're not a Tiger guy?
No, I'm not a Tiger guy in general, but I couldn't play with it. I wouldn't play well enough to feel good about it.
Oh, in that respect, I'm with you.
Yeah.
But you can't pass up the opportunity.
Yeah, I could.
Well, if someone asked you to play,
I couldn't have Tiger Woods. If I hit a bad drive or I shanked something, I couldn't be playing with Tiger Woods doing that.
I would just say, I'll drop with you 380 yards up.
I'd be so self-conscious. You wouldn't be self-conscious about that? Listen, if I was a single-digit handicapper, I'd have no problem with it.
Yeah, I'm not a single digit.
No, and especially now, I'm playing the worst ever. So I
don't know. I just don't think you could pass it up. I don't think you could pass up playing with Tiger Woods, though, man. That would be an experience.
I wouldn't be able to pass it up, but I would be self-conscious the entire time. I already am with golfing because I know I'm terrible.
Golf is hard enough where you go, oh, man, I got to play.
Yeah. Now you think
I'm embarrassed. I got to hit a bad shot here and be embarrassed that I'm playing with the guy.
Do you think Tiger would be one of those annoying guys, though, where try this? Try this one. I can't stand when people start trying to fix your swing.
First of all, I would love that. Are you kidding me?
You'd be in your head the whole time.
No, if I get golf instruction from Tiger Woods, but he wouldn't be the type to do that. He's not one of those guys. He's an eye roll guy.
Yeah,
Tiger Woods. He'd be an eye roll guy.
He's on hole 3. Like, you kidding me? Did I really sign up for 18 with this guy?
Exactly. And you can see his body language would be horrible. I don't even play with single-digit handicappers where I play golf.
You see, I prefer
Tiger Woods.
I prefer to play with guys who are better than me. I like learning things as I'm out there because you see the way they approach the game, Mike, and they do it in a different way.
I get that, but I don't like to hold people back.
I'd be too much of a head case.
Well, I got the best advice ever from my cousin when I started golfing. When you're playing good, play fast. When you're playing bad, play faster. And then you can play with anybody you want. Just play fast.
Yeah, I'm a fast player. Yeah. I don't labor over a shot.
And then nobody cares if you're shanking it, as long as you're keeping up.
Speaking of learning things.
They care if you're shaking it.
Yeah,
Your partner cares. You play in matches all the time, right?
Yeah, I play in tournaments.
Okay,
and
well,
stuff.
you're shaking it. You care. You're letting your partner down.
That's what makes it fun.
Speaking of learning things, we're going to take this to the world of football, where Dennis Allen apparently learned something new at his presser.
I'm gonna leave the metaphors to you guys. All right, but what is a metaphor?
What's that?
What is a metaphor? Like, what's the official definition of metaphor?
A metaphor is like using something as comparison as like an example, right?
Okay. All right. I got it.
Wait, what was that again?
Dennis Allen.
Dennis Allen?
Apparently does not know what a metaphor is.
Was he just kidding there, or what?
The way his face looked while he's saying it did not sell me he was an actor on that one.
Maybe, football players don't keep up.
A figure of speech in which a word or phrase is applied to an object or action to which it is not literally applicable.
There you go.
There you go, Dennis
Definition.
Allen.
Now, not just because Dennis Allen doesn't know what a metaphor is, but the fact that he still has a job blows my mind.
Dennis Allen? He keeps getting jobs.
I think he's one of the worst NFL coaches in the league
they
right now.
recycle coaches. That's what they do.
I may have highlighted this because of my feelings on Dennis Allen as a coach.
Okay.
So
It's terrible.
yeah. All right. This is something strange. We'll end with this one. The weirdest food-related story in sports has been the Will Levis and his
mayonnaise
fixation with mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise!
Did you see what he's coming out with?
Well, no. What is he coming up with?
Oh, let's take a listen to the commercial for his newest product.
They try to define you, but you are the ingredient to your own success. Luscious, eggy, smell like greatness. Will Levis, number 8, Parfum de Mayonnaise.
Wait a minute. He's got a cologne out that smells like mayonnaise?
It is Hellman's Mayonnaise Cologne. Number 8 by Will Levis.
Is he kidding me?
Here's the crazy
I'm not
part.
kidding
It
you.
smells like mayonnaise.
I'm not kidding you.
It's sold out, Mike.
Wow. There's some things I don't get in this world.
60% of the time, it works every time. Hold on. The scent is described as having 6 fragrance notes. Tart lemon, mayonnaise, which provides a rich, smooth texture to the fragrance. Parsley, coffee, undertones, musk, and creamy vanilla.
No, parsley and coffee are not bad smells.
But with mayonnaise mixed in.
Listen, I'll check it out, see it. But you got to get me a soundbite now since we're talking mayonnaise, right? Because one of the great soprano quotes after the Pine Barrens episode.
Yes, great episode.
When they're driving back in the car and Paulie's eating a sandwich. And he has a little dab of mayonnaise there. And Tony looks in the rearview mirror and goes, hey, mayonnaise. Hey, what's up? Mayonnaise! Give me the mayonnaise soundbite.
We need that
We will go grab that one.
That's the best episode.
Let's go to the phones. Greg and Ben Salem, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Greg.
Mikey, how are you doing?
What's up, Greg?
I haven't talked to you in a few years.
It has been a while.
It's always a pleasure.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, you guys have good chemistry. I'm sure it'll be a success. What options does Topper have? Is he rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic?
No, listen, Greg, they're a solid team, right? They have solid players on this team. So all he can do right now, and I don't think he'll do it tonight, but if they lose or they still can't hit, I think he'll change it up. The only thing you could do is switch up the lineup and do a little, you move Schwarber. And you have Turner in the leadoff hole, and you move Stott to 2. You need to do something that would change the mindset of guys that are just slugging. So that's the only thing I would do. But he's not a guy that's going to change a lot because he knows he's been around Major League players enough to know they don't like change.
Right. Well, why do they they seem to have a history going back at least through the Arizona series last fall of swinging at non-strikes. Do they not recognize the slider? Is that the problem? Because they look pitiful sometimes when a pitcher's got a decent slider.
Yeah. This is all, to me, really film study. And I assume they do. But, like, situational hitting is about film study. You look at a pitcher, you look at tendencies, you get information from your coaches about tendencies. To continue to strand runners, meaning you're giving in to the pitcher. Like, he's controlling you rather than the other way around. And you should be better prepared for that.
Well, it just seems like if a pitcher grooves a fastball in the middle, somehow they're looking for something else. And they
that happens a lot with major league players because it's so hard to hit that sometimes you guess, and he's going to throw me, and you guess wrong. But it's hard. It's hard. People say react and hit. Like old guys. My philosophy was see the ball and hit it. Well, it's with the pitching today. It's tough to do that because you want to get a head start on your bat, and it's just seeing it and hitting it is hard these days.
Well, do they need to take a pitch, make the guy throw a strike before? I mean, you hate to get behind the eight ball.
I'm not see, if a guy pitches backwards, yes, right? That's what you do. Mm-hmm. Or you're like that guy last night was pitching backwards. He was throwing, breaking stuff early in the count to try to get ahead. But I've never been a fan of taking first pitch strike. Like, if the first pitch is a fastball that you're expecting, there's no reason why you shouldn't swing at that pitch.
I'm with you on that. These pitchers are too good. If they give you a pitch you could hit, I don't care when it happens in the count.
Now, again, with tendencies, if you got a pitcher goes, okay, now, chances are if you're Schwarber, you're going to get a breaking pitch. First pitch is going to be a breaking ball, right? He's not going to get a fastball. So a guy like Schwarber, and he's been successful this year, knowing that kind of thing. All hitters have to have that edge. It's just like playing blackjack, Bill. You reduce the odds of the dealer getting over on you. You got to reduce the odds of a pitcher getting over on you.
That's why you doubled down on 11 when they got a 5 showing.
That's right.
Mayonnaise.
He got it quick.
Thank you, Petrelli, back there.
Mayonnaise. He was so perturbed that he had to pick him up.
Now, Paulie's also in Goodfellas. Small part.
Yeah, he plays Junior.
Yeah.
Hey, right here, Junior.
Yeah.
That's what he says to him.
Wait, who says it to him?
The cab stand, they're fooling around.
Yeah.
And Paulie shows up and they all get quiet.
Yes.
Well, Paulie Walnuts was in that scene where he's doing something.
Correct.
And Tootie goes, yeah, here you go, right here, Junior.
That's right. That's when they introduce Paulie. He's a quiet man.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right, 610-632-097. Let me hear the mayonnaise again. Here.
Mayonnaise.
Back after this.
Now is the time to be
It's 12:18 on the Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5 The Fanatic. Wow, we're going to do a lot of Aerosmith today.
Overcorrecting.
Yeah, right. Right done. It's the new favorite rock band is Aerosmith. All right, this thought just occurred to me here because the danger with the Phillies is they slip out of the 1 and 2. Now, a lot of people think that's not that bad of a deal because the teams that have to sit out get stale. And maybe it's better that you play straight through. Well, they played straight through a couple of years ago when they got to the World Series, right? They didn't have a bye. They got into a groove in the playoffs, and all of a sudden, boom, they get to the World Series. So if they slide out of the number 1 and 2 hole, they would slide into the 3 seed, and they would play, lo and behold, right now, the Padres in the first round. So maybe we're blowing the horn, the get off the course horn a little too soon.
What also helped in the previous 2 years that they would go on the road to start the series and they could steal one of the two.
Yeah.
It helped them. But I know you're looking for a positive, Mike.
I'm looking for a positive. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe they have to play their way through this.
But you would
more
prefer
games, more pitching.
You would prefer that they could set up the pitching rotation the way you want to set it up.
Yeah, but there are a lot of other people that say that's bye screws you up. I don't know. Listen, I'm not. Right now they're in a malaise, and I don't like it. So that's the bottom line. I want to mention to people listening here. I have a venture that I'm involved with now, and I just want to give it a little publicity. I started a true crime podcast. This is something I've wanted to do. Let me give you the backstory. When I was 7 years old, a 9-year-old girl was raped and murdered in a church around the corner from my house. It has been a cold case for 62 years. They never found the killer. It's been something that has stayed with me and all the people that grew up in my little town of Bristol Borough for a really long time. It shocked the town. I mean, you think about a crime like that, it's like crazy to think about it and shocking. And to boot, my uncle was the police chief in town. And the reason why our family knew, but when they discovered the murder at 4:30 in the afternoon, he had called my mother and said, I was playing football in the yard with my brother at the time. I remember this vividly. And he called my house to get the kids in the house. Something tragic has happened at the church. In other words, there might be a murderer in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So we scurried in. And this has stayed with me. This case has stayed with me because it has not been solved. So I've started a podcast. It's called The Coldest Murder. You can get it on YouTube. We're 2 episodes in, and we're going to record a 3rd episode. And basically, I've laid it out like a whodunit. I've laid out the 4 suspects that it could be, and I add information that would allow the listener to figure out who really did this. Now, the only way they can find out who actually did it is by this new supersonic forensic genealogy DNA, where if they have the DNA of the scene of the crime, which has been preserved since 1962 now, and there's not much of it, they can match it with a relative of any of the suspects.
Would the suspects' relatives have to voluntarily turn over
From what I understand, the 2 main suspects in the case, they have already accumulated the DNA from their relatives. So I'm doing this as I'm investigating the whole time. I'm like back into I got my journalism hat on.
Dude, if you solve this thing, that would be incredible.
Well, yeah, you know what? Hopefully at the end, that's what comes out of this. Because it's shocking to me that someone could get away with a crime like that. The poor little girl stopped in front of the church with her bicycle to say a prayer because she was going to Catholic elementary school. The nuns suggested that when you pass the church, it was a good idea to go in and say a prayer. She went into the church and got murdered. Now, I will tell you that one of the suspects was a priest at that church.
My in-laws are very into this podcast. They've been listening to the first 2 episodes.
Oh, they have? Oh, really?
They were aware of the crime. My father-in-law has his opinion about who did it, so he's following it very closely. Supposed to be very good, Mike.
Yeah,
I haven't tuned in yet.
I have done a lot of research on this to the point where I was on the phone with the officials from the Elaine Hunt prison in Houma, Louisiana, because one of the suspects relocated to Louisiana, wound up getting convicted of manslaughter down there.
Interesting.
Yeah. There are two major suspects in this case, as far as I can tell. There were four originally. One was ruled out. The third one, I don't think, has enough attachment to it.
Is the priest still one of the two?
The priest is absolutely one of the two.
People on YouTube want to know again, what year did this happen, Mike?
This happened in 1962 in October. I remember because it started to get a little chilly and started to get a little dark. I was playing football with my brother. We were throwing the football in the front yard. And we got this call, get the kids in the house. And so that leaves an impression on a 7-year-old kid.
Absolutely.
And you see, I was a big avid reader of newspapers. So the next day, the newspaper blared, a girl murdered in church, and I still have that imprint in my head. And I've always wanted to figure out what was happening here with this. And I know a lot of people in that area of Bristol feel the same way about it. So it's called The Coldest Murder, and hopefully I have 9 episodes planned, and we're 2 in now. We're going to do another one this week. All right, let's go to Malcolm in D.C. Malcolm, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Malcolm.
Yo, Mike.
What's up, Malcolm?
Yo, what's up, Mike?
How you doing, buddy?
Yo, I'm doing great, man. Doing great to hear you, and I'm so happy that you're back on 97.5 The Fanatic, dude. You don't even know.
Thank you, buddy.
Man, I don't want to bring the show down, but in 2020, I went through a really bad depression, and I couldn't sleep, and the only thing that I could get some rest to was listen to your podcast every night. And
thank you. Yeah, and hopefully we're going to continue the Mike Missanelli podcast in September.
Yeah, man. Thank you. You helped me out more than you ever know, bro. Honestly.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I know how that can be, man. But believe me, I've experienced it as well.
Caused a little trouble in my house. My girlfriend's always like, "Oh, I wish I was Mikey Miss. Oh, you listen to Mikey Miss? I wish I was Mike." Yeah, bro.
Wow,
Really
you still have the same girlfriend?
Yep, still
okay.
do.
Oh, good. Glad to hear that.
So she's excited to have you back on too. But
cool.
Yeah, man, I'm really excited for the Birds this year. Super excited for the Birds. I'm a little fearful about this defense, though. I don't think that I'm not sold on Bryce Huff. I think he might have been a product of a good.
It's an interesting point that you bring up because I kind of feel the same way.
Yeah,
and now it's really it's really put a spotlight on it now with what's going on with Reddick.
Yeah.
Is it possible we could reel him back?
It's really fun. I don't think so. I don't think they would want to do that. You think they'd want to do that? The reel back of Reddick?
No,
he wants a new contract.
Yeah.
They've already. it's the reason why they traded him in the first place. They didn't want to give him a new contract.
It was all about money to begin with.
But see, how is his agent? His agent is at fault here, I think. How was his agent not able to get a promise from the Jets that he would get paid? The agent's supposed to be in on all that, right?
The agent dropped the ball, and then the Jets dropped the ball. Neither side should have agreed to this trade without a new contract.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what the Jets were thinking. That he would play and it would be a fresh start for him, and that's why he would look at it.
And to give up a third
But it's also
rounder?
the agent. Before you make a deal like that, you got to have that. That's got to be laid out. All right, 610-622-0975. Back to your phone calls after this. rocking you like a hurricane. Scorpions. 12:33. Mike Missanelli. I love the music he's playing, man. This is music that Ray doesn't even know about.
Better
he's
DJ.
He's firing away.
Ray Dunn or Garrett Stubbs?
I think Ray Dunn.
I think so too. He probably can hit better too.
One-dimensional. It is 12:33. It's Mike Missanelli Show. Speaking of Ray, a little bit later in this program, we have an interesting fantasy football dilemma. Ray's a big fantasy football dilemma man, and he's got a dilemma about a fantasy football league.
This is a dilemma, and I don't know how he should handle it. I hope you do.
I don't. I don't know, but
this is tough.
All right, this is so. Let's just tease it a little bit. It's a couples fantasy football league, but you are no longer a couple.
Correct.
So I would rather hear the backstory of why you're not a couple.
No. That's not
really?
something we're
okay.
airing.
All right, but okay. So we'll discuss that in a little bit. What was I going to say? I had something to say, and I lost my train of thought.
Too busy thinking about the breakup.
Yeah, all flustered by Ray's
by
love
his
life.
music and his love life and the whole bit. So let's just get back to the phones with Andy in Lambertville. Andy, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, Andy?
Hey, good afternoon, gentlemen. I wanted to talk some Rojas, but before I do, real quick, I love top 5 lists, and I think you're leaving out, though, Freddie Mercury.
I had him number 2, bro. Come on.
Oh, you had him, too?
Yeah.
I heard Bills, and
Here it is. Cornell, Freddie Mercury, Steve Perry, Axl Rose, Robert Plant.
Yeah, I left him out, Andy. That may be a big miss on me.
Okay. And I had a discussion with my buddy about this not too long ago, and there's a difference between a vocalist and a front man. Because if you got front man, you got to put Mick Jagger, maybe Tyler up in there. But our thing in terms of vocalists, you got to be able to. Our thing is if you got to be able to sing it. Could anybody else sing that part? And I think Axl Rose might be in the conversation.
Yeah, well, did you not listen to me here? I had him 4th.
He heard
I must have been in the bank.
What's going on? What's going on?
Get out of the car.
What are you, Trey Turner? Right now?
All right, so hold on. Speaking of top 5 real quick, certainly in terms of top 5 Philadelphia radio talk show hosts, Missanelli, you're the GOAT, and I'm so glad you're back. Real quick about Rojas, because you're wrong about this. You said he can't hit right-handers, and if you look at the splits, now it's only 162 at-bats, but he's hitting 260 with an on-base percentage of 300. So I went back and I was looking at some of the World Series teams from the Phillies. And, of course, in 2008, Victorino was hitting out of this world, of course. But you go all the way back to the Secretary of Defense, 75% of the earth is covered in water. The other is covered by this person. Ray might not know, but World Series 1980, the 6-hole hitter, 259 for the year.
Yeah, he slumped that
and
year.
we're talking about a 9-hole hitter.
He didn't have a good year, Gary Maddox, that year. I'm just not a big believer in Rojas in a playoff situation. I don't think he can. He hasn't mastered hitting enough to trust him in a high-profile playoff series.
But who do you trust more, Mike?
He's still young, though. He's still young. So
he is still young, but I can't age him 3 years before the playoffs start.
Yeah, but who do you trust more?
I got to evaluate him on what he is now.
But who do you trust more? That's the problem. I'm with you. I would have liked to have seen them go out and get a big right-handed bat.
I don't trust him at all, so I trust everybody more. I do not trust Johan Rojas in a playoff situation. I just don't. He needs to learn how to hit.
So you're going with Marsh every day?
I would go with Marsh. I don't know. I don't know what I would do.
Exactly.
I have no idea what I would. I guess I would platoon it. He just can't be the regular guy. Like when he came into the season, they had him as the regular guy, and they were going to platoon left field.
Yeah, they missed the boat on the outfield this year.
To your point about Marsh every day, though, like a platoon doesn't work with Rojas having reverse splits. If he's better against right-handers, I'm obviously going to start Marsh against right-handers.
I don't know why that would be, though. I don't know why he would be better against right-handers.
Well, he's had more opportunities. He's only had 67 at bats.
Maybe it's fluky.
Well, but Mike, he's only had 67 at bats against lefties.
Okay.
Because they usually platoon him with Marsh. Okay. He's got 192 against righties. So I think if he got more opportunities, maybe you would see them come closer together. I don't know.
I think at this Marsh had a couple hits off of lefties when they tried him out there as every day. He's obviously going through it right now. But I think that's probably your best bet in terms of everyday offensive output.
So we're going Hayes in left, Marsh in center, Casty in right when the postseason gets here.
I guess you still got to platoon. I think Rob Toppin's still going to platoon. He's still going to give Rojas the at bat. I just don't trust it. Rojas is going to be in the mix. They're going to platoon Marsh and Rojas. All right, let's go to Nick on the cell. Nick, what's up, buddy?
Good afternoon, Mike, Bill, and Ray.
Hello, Nick.
Yeah, I'm not in panic mode per se. I'm a little frustrated. It's not just what I'm seeing on the field. It's more so with like the roster and the lineup of this team. I think they made some common sense moves, dumping the two relievers that weren't doing too good and getting a right-handed bat that addressed that issue. The one thing that's glaring to me is, and I know we keep talking about it, but the Stubbs. You gotta switch that out. You gotta get Marchand in, and you gotta tell Stubbs rather fake an injury or send him down. Because in the playoffs, I mean, common sense wise, again, if you have one batter left on the bench, it's going to be Garrett Stubbs, or you can have a switch hitter. Wouldn't it make more sense to have a switch hitter available than Garrett Stubbs? And then the other thing is, why does Stott have to bat fifth? He should bat eighth.
I mean, they've changed him around. One guy they've changed around is Stott to try to move him up and down the lineup to see if he can catch fire. You know, I'm thinking about your Marchand thing. I guess I would rather have him as an extra player than Stubbs because he can give you more offensively. You know, you're not going to see the light of day behind the plate. JT Realmuto is going to catch every inning.
Yeah, with no backup catcher sees the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so in other words, if you need a pinch hitter for Rojas late in the game, but then you can't. Then you don't have an extra player to play. Like, who's your extra player to play the outfield if you do that?
Well, it would be him or Stubbs on the roster anyway. They're still going to carry a backup catcher.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, all right.
I was against Marchand staying up here for the remainder of the regular season because he would only play once every 5 days. I thought he needed to play more. But for a postseason roster, I could get behind maybe bringing Marchand up to have that bat off the bench. But do you want to mess with, hate saying the vibes, but that's what keeps getting thrown around when it comes to Garrett Stubbs. But the vibes aren't good right now.
The vibes aren't great right now.
That's why I'm done with it. I'm done. I was a vibes guy.
You're talking about throwing chairs. I think the vibes guy's not doing his job keeping the vibes up if you're talking about throwing chairs around.
I think players get over vibes. Players from their own locker room are traded all the time. They're here today, they're going tomorrow. They get over it real quick.
I just didn't think it made sense to do it in light of the fact that you were talking about a guy who plays once every 5 days and's not going to play in the postseason. But now with the way things are, desperate times call for desperate measures.
We're back to Bamboo Brad now? Is that the theory? That
Should we buy him a bamboo plant, drop it off?
Bamboo Brad, we can't trade Stubbs because he wears overalls.
And he wears the hat.
He's the DJ.
He is the DJ.
Well, the thing with Marchand, though, when you're talking about like a postseason bat, it would only be really specific instances, I would think, because you would want to protect the ability, God forbid JT goes down. I don't want a postseason game where I'm thinking about, okay, who's going to be the emergency catcher in that situation. Like, I'm not pinch hitting Marchand for one of the other guys in this lineup.
That's true.
Just to put him out there.
Yeah, so you can't pinch hit him anyway.
Yeah, you can't.
So it really doesn't matter.
The conversation works itself into a circle where, like,
exactly.
Backup catcher.
So keep Stubbs here.
Mike in Hatboro, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Mike.
Michele, bentornato in real Italian. Welcome back, my friend.
Thank you very much.
So glad to see you, hear you, and everything. First thing first, you two guys have serious homework. Tomorrow I'm listening. I want 3 or 4 quotes from each of you from the Pope of Greenwich Village. Charlie, I took my son.
That's the ultimate. That's the ultimate quote from the Pope of Greenwich Village.
Freaking Salute! Hey, salute! We'll drink like gentlemen. Watch the sunrise. Unbelievable. You guys are going to love the flick. Can't stand the body language when Walker gave up his second and third home runs. You could tell the infield was like pissed off, and it was horrible.
That's what you, as a baseball player, you're slumping. You go, I hope my pitcher can give me something. Boom! He ate of the first 10 or balls, and you're going, oh, and that does affect you as a player.
My kid Fido, what are you doing? I was like, pull his ass now. It's just not good. The other team sees it. They're preying on you. I mean, the home plate umpire was not great for either team, but that's hardly why they're losing. And everybody's at bat. They just got that wrong stare. I believe Trey Turner, after that July, he can find it again. I really do. But Stott, man, he's toast. I don't know what to say about him. And lastly,
he's very confused up there. It's a shame because he's a good player. He knows how to play the game, And you can just tell he's confused.
And you hear Kruk every night, and Ruben and Stocker or whoever the announcers are all say it. I'm in Florida, and I hear the different broadcasts. Bryce Harper's getting pitched high in the zone, and he just refuses to recognize it.
He's not getting to that ball.
No, but lastly, I want to say that whoever and the person or persons who made you walk away from the station G-rated this comment in Italian is alla faccia tua, in your face. Alla faccia tua. Welcome back, my man, Pots and Pans. I'm so excited, and I'm looking forward to that true crime. And you guys better have quotes tomorrow. That's an amazing movie.
That's homework assignment, Mike? All right, buddy.
Homework all the way.
Yeah.
My wife's down the shore. My kids are on vacation. So I got nothing to do tonight but watch that movie. So I will make sure that homework assignment gets completed.
That bug Eddie Grant.
That was Paulie from Rocky. He's a great actor. It's a shame he passed away.
Yeah, he did.
He was a great
neighborhood gangster.
He was a great supporting actor.
The guy that took Eric Roberts' thumb.
Well, I'll find out tonight. Now, to Mike's point, though, that was Mike that was just on the phone, right? Mm-hmm. Saying that Rob Thompson should have benched Bohm for not running out to first. Is that what he said?
Yeah, but he ran. He had the hangdog face.
But that's to my point, and I'm not saying he should have benched Alec Bohm. I just need Rob Thompson to do something publicly, to hold somebody accountable, to wake these guys up. I know you're saying that's a football mentality, Mike, but for me, I look at this team and I look what's going on over the last 26 games. He needs to do something different. Let's hold some players accountable. It's getting out of hand now.
All right. When you say that, go ahead. Hold the player accountable. Do something.
Sit somebody down.
Sit somebody.
Instead of yesterday coming out after the game.
How about this? Would you bench Turner tonight and play Sosa at shortstop?
Probably.
You would do that. That would be a drastic move that would get their attention.
I would probably do that, or even something as simple as this. He gets asked last night, have you thought about tinkering with the lineup? I've thought about it. Have you thought about meeting with the team? I've thought about it. Say something. Call these guys out. Do something.
You're from the school where a manager needs to do that publicly.
Not always. Not always. But you look at this team and you look at what's happened over the last 26 games. Mike, we said it earlier. The only team worse since the All-Star break is the Chicago White Sox. He's got to do something different. And I know that's not in his personality, so that's why I think it would be effective. Because, man, Rob Thompson never does that. Well, now's the time to do it. Just do something, Rob.
Let's get Tom in Newark in here. Tom, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, Tommy?
Mike, it's been great. Glad you're back.
Thanks, buddy.
My nephew called me, and he said, they're talking about our movie. It's in my top 5 of all time.
Pope of Greenwich Village is the top 5 of all time?
In my list, yes.
Okay. It's entertaining. I don't know if it would be.
I got high expectations now.
Top 5 for it. I really think you have to be Italian to really get it.
Well, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. After Godfather 1 and 2, that's number 3. So.
All right. There are some great lines in the movie. Whoever wrote the movie is pretty good. They had to have that Greenwich Village ear.
The Garguzzo's never served a piece of tough mozzarella ever.
Yeah, your mozzarella's tough sometimes.
Yeah. That was the best. Paulie is just terrific. You know who's great in that movie, Mike?
Daryl Hannah. No.
No, God, no. Geraldine Page.
Oh, she was great. Oh, my God.
What a scene.
That may have been one of the best scenes ever in movies. She's a great actress. A lot of people think, well, what are we talking about here?
She's Academy
My
Award
Walter was as tough as a bar of iron.
Yeah. She's sitting there smoking, chain smoking, drinking whiskey, and she's holding the rosaries while she's cursing at M. Walsh.
You're all over it.
That's one of the top scenes in the movie.
Yeah, it really is.
She's phenomenal.
All right, buddy.
And Mike?
Yes, Tom.
As far as the Phillies go, I'm out.
No. Stop with this. I'm out. What are you out for? You saving yourself from disappointment?
I'm out.
I love to be out. I'm out. Nobody's really out, but they do that like it's such a defense mechanism. That's like putting up a shield. Like, nobody can get me if I say I'm out. So this way, if they win, it doesn't matter. Nobody will remember I said I'm out. But if they lose, I'll have a built-in excuse. Say I was out. It's a Philly fan thing.
I'm not out, but it's hard to feel good, Mike. It's hard to
I feel fine.
No, you don't.
I don't feel fine about after last night's game, but I feel fine that this is a good enough team that they'll survive it.
What's survive it to you, though?
Get 1 or 2 seed.
1 or 2 seed?
Yeah. I think that they're still going to get a 1 or 2 seed.
You think they're going to the World Series?
I don't know. I mean, listen, they got to beat somebody pretty good to get to the World Series.
But they were supposed to be the team.
Well, I get it. You know, the way baseball evolves during the season, then you reevaluate. You go, are they World Series champion? Now, early in the season, everybody's saying, yeah, they're World Series champion. But now a lot of teams have caught up. So it's going to be tough to win a series against a really good team to get to the World Series.
Would anything less than a World Series appearance be a major disappointment for you?
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
It would. After the way they started, yeah, of course it would.
Yep.
Father Sean, what's up, Father Sean?
Hey, Mike.
How are you?
Back.
Thank you, buddy.
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm doing good. How you doing?
Great. Listen, I'm so happy you're back, and I've been following your podcast, both of them, actually. I'll get to the new one in a minute. Okay. But, you met that guy just called about Pope of Greenwich Village. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. But that Geraldine Page character, I think I've had at least 3 of them in my parishes that I've been in 22 years, you know?
Yeah.
But
yeah, she was a great character.
Yeah, exactly. But I was going to ask you, and actually Bill just was kind of chiming in on this idea. I just wanted to get your thoughts on it. You know, obviously something's got to be done. They got to get some life. You're right. They look like they had the long faces last night. They weren't trying to run it out, and they're in their home. They're in their home turf here with us and with the fans and all that. But like, what would you say to like, I don't know, like sitting Marsh, you know, trying to. I mean, I know the guy that we just got, Austin Hayes, is not. He's hurt now and all that. But what would you think about that, or at least sitting Stott and putting Sosa in? I know other people have chimed in on that. But I mean, do you think that helps at all? I mean, long term, I don't know.
I don't think tonight is the time to do it. I think you got to let them recover from that malaise of last night. And if you see malaise again, then the third game of this series, you definitely do something. But the last thing, again, coming back from a long road trip was the first game. People get acclimated with their families, their kids and stuff. And so they come to the ballpark. Maybe it's not the best biorhythm for them. But
so my grandma used to say they looked a little bit mushad, you know?
They're a little mushad last night. Absolutely.
Listen, real quick on the new podcast, okay?
Yeah.
Just real quick. I won't take too much time. I know you got other callers.
Yeah.
I was ordained in 2003 for the Archdiocese. My first assignment was up in Pendle with Our Lady of Grace. So I was up in that area. I heard about this story a long time ago. But the irony here is, you know, and I'm fascinated by what you're doing with this and everything. And certainly, you know, this is a story that's not only haunted you, but a whole community and many people for many years. And I know that, you know, the one priest that was there, you know, you mentioned him. I won't get into it in case you're going to get into something.
Yeah.
The guy was, you know, I mean, he's got a history, all right? The Archdiocese had a whole thing out on him, you know.
Yes, he was on a list in the 2004 exposure of all the predator priests by Lynn Abraham, the DA. That his name was on the list.
Right. Well, here's the other thing. So, like, I'm in a seminary. It's like 1999. I was on a spiritual year, right? And I wanted to celebrate. All right, I was baptized 30 years ago. I'm like halfway through the time. And lo and behold, I was going to a place up in the coal regions. It was a hospital, and I found out that the priest that baptized me, Father Joseph Badish, was there. And I wanted to just meet him and say, listen, you baptized me at St. William's back in 1969. Just wanted to meet you. I'm studying to be a priest and all that. Can I get your blessing? Well, I didn't get a chance to meet him, but then years later when I found out.
Wow,
you know,
so you were baptized by one of the suspects. That's the guy's name. I didn't put his name out there. That's the priest's name. That's one of the suspects.
Interesting.
610-632-9232. 0975. Coming up, 1 at 1. What do you got for me, Ray? Something good?
That's something in the box. We got a number of stories we could pick from here.
All right, we're coming back after this.
Metallica?
Yes, sir. Nice call by you. 1 o'clock hour, Mike Missanelli Show. It's brought to you by Ferguson HVAC, Lion Conklin. Attention HVAC contractors for equipment, parts, and supplies for every heating and cooling job. Visit one of Ferguson's count locations in Ben Salem, King of Prussia, Pennsauken, or Westchester. You know, when I did a WMLR gig, I wasn't that big a Metallica fan, but I got to be one because we play Metallica like every other song at WMMR.
I like Metallica.
Ready for this?
I'm not big on Metallica. Yeah.
James Hetfield.
Yeah. There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
I'm trying to redeem from earlier. I'm just throwing names out there for you. So at least I'm on Metallica.
So you know Hetfield.
I know Hetfield.
All right.
I don't think I could pronounce the drummer's name. I forget what the drummer's name, but I think it starts with U, the last name. It's Liam
or something? What's his name?
No.
Ulrich. Lars Ulrich.
There you go.
Lars Ulrich. Kirk Hammett. I'm a rad rocker from back. You know, I was on stage with Pearl Jam.
Really?
Eddie Vedder?
I was on stage with them when they played at the old. I guess the Spectrum. It was the concert. Right? I was right by the guitar rack.
Eddie Vedder has a solo album I like from that movie.
Does he?
From that movie, not a solo album. He's on the movie soundtrack, Into the Wild, about the story about the kid who gave up all his possessions and went into the wild in Alaska.
I haven't seen that one.
But he has some good songs from that.
Does he?
Yeah.
Oh, man. A lot of people would put him in a list of vocalists.
He's good. Very good.
610-632-0975. It is time, ladies and gentlemen, for 1 at 1. Ray, explain to the people what this is.
Lots happened 2 years since you've been on the air
I've
here.
been here 2 years, 3 months.
So we're going to try and cover as much as we can from that time and get how you feel about certain things, and that's what we thought. 1 o'clock every day, we'll pick out one story.
Let's see what and I'm sure I have reacted to this story at one point with the podcast that I was doing, but let's do it right now.
A whole lot has happened in 2 years. Mike's been watching, and he's got thoughts. Here's the one story at 1. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
All right.
What do you got, Ray?
Let's pick out of the box here. All right. The Sod Father and the Super Bowl field.
Ooh. I don't like to look at stuff like that. Like, I look at the game, I go, I don't, the side was this, the side was that. I don't get into it. I didn't have much of an opinion on that, actually. You know, I don't like excuses.
And I thought the Eagles did a good job of not making it an excuse.
They kind of did.
I felt like they moved on.
You did?
I don't think the Eagles
At the time,
players.
I thought they made it a big deal.
So about the fans or the players?
The players.
So I don't think the players came out and said that much about it. They basically said we need to play better. Both
C.J. Gardner-Johnson go off on that?
Sounds right.
I think C.J. Gardner went off on it.
But that big of an event for a billion-dollar company to not have a good field is unacceptable.
I totally agree with you. But I always look at it like, all right, what are you going to do about it? You know, like it's like an idle complaint. You know, you can't. There's nothing you can actually do about it. You can't go back in time and make the field better. So it happened, and both teams had to play on it.
Both teams had to play on it, but man, it slowed down that Eagles pass rush.
Here's a couple of quotes from that one. Hassan Reddick, I'm not going to lie, it was the worst field that I've played on.
Hassan Reddick went off on it.
We got, I think Brandon Graham said that they were the offensive line was blessed by the field conditions. Man, pregame I went through 3 different cleats. C.J. Gardner-Johnson tweeted. Yeah, so we got some Eagles chiming in.
Yeah,
the fans made a massive
I thought they
deal.
went off on it, and I look at it and I go, all right, I get it. I get your point. The field was bad. It should have been better. Both teams had to play on it, and you can always slant the argument that it hurt your team more than it hurt the other team.
You can, and I don't think that's the reason that they lost, but it is unfortunate that they didn't play on a field where you could see that pass rush. But the Chiefs were good against the blitz all season long anyway. Mahomes never gets sacked. Mahomes is one of the best at not getting sacked. So,
you know, Ray, related to that is this thing, things I've been hammered on. Yeah, that I've said. There you go. It's the big hammer. I suggested after the 100th time that a player punched the dugout wall, I forget who the last guy to do it was, that go on the DL in frustration. I said, why would Major League teams just coat their dugout walls with wrestling mat material? No, that's brilliant. When you think about it, it's brilliant. Right? Nobody in baseball, they got a million employees. Not one guy will walk into the Grand Poobah and say, I think we got to stop these injuries by putting them to mat. And you know what I got from people? Well, Mike, they can also act like mature adults. The professional athletes are not mature adults. They're creatures of emotion. So if a pitcher gives up a grand slam and he comes in, guaranteed he's going to do something out of frustration. So to guard against that, I said, put the wrestling mat there on the wall.
It's a good idea.
Is that not a good idea?
Makes too
Why
much
don't people
sense.
listen to me?
It makes too much
I got
sense.
so many good ideas. They've been ignored over the years, Bill.
Put a punching bag. Forget that.
Well,
Just give them something
they
to go
won't
over
hit
to.
a punching bag. That's the point. They're going to hit the damn wall. They're going to punch the Gatorade cooler. So go, okay.
So are you suggesting mats around the cooler, too? With little foam padding?
You can bubble wrap it.
Bubble wrap the bottom of the chairs?
You're probably not going to break your hand on a Gatorade bucket, though. You will break your hand if you punch a brick wall. The dugout walls are all cinder block, painted over, right?
Yes.
What do you have to be, like a genius to think, you know what, if we coat this wall, somebody can punch it and not hurt themselves?
It's a great idea. People got angry. You said a lot more things to get people angry than that.
See, the thing, you're underwhelmed by this idea. I can't understand it. You're like, this is such a great idea that both of you guys should be raving about it.
I need bubble wrap on the bottom of the chairs, too, though, because we got to avoid the Ryan Madsen breaking the toe conversation where he gets mad and he starts kicking. Because once you take away their ability to punch, they'll start kicking.
This is such a great idea. It's like, Bill, reaction like I just split the atom. Seriously. Like I'm Einstein, I just split the atom. Your reaction is like, yeah, it's a good idea. Your mind works in a very interesting way.
What I'm thinking about right now is how we can make money off of this idea. That's why it is a great idea, but I'm thinking, is there a way we could patent clubhouse locker padding?
See, he's getting all analytical.
Yeah.
He's getting all business on
I
us.
threw out a great idea. He should have said, man, Eureka. You mean like Archimedes?
He's already sent out 2 texts. He's taking this idea from me, and he's going to go make the big money.
I already got my patent people working on it.
610-632-0975. Let's go to Ish in Levittown. What's up, Ish?
Hey, Mike, how are you?
What's going on, Ish?
Hey, I just want to, well, you were saying something about the Bristol earlier. You know, I'm like, actually, like, 2 minutes away from there. I think that's the first time I ever heard about that story.
Oh, yeah. It's been, listen, it stuck with me for a long time. Because I grew up around the corner from where that crime happened. And I had the police family involvement, the whole bit. But it's always really got like I always thought I wanted to do something with that story.
Yeah, I'm like right in Levittown, so you know it's like right across the street. So I actually, know that.
Yeah, now it happened a long time ago. We're talking 60+ years ago. You know,
yeah. But I wanted to talk about the Phillies. I know this is people going to probably say, oh, he just being dramatic. But if I'm Rob Thompson, I agree with the other guy that was talking. I think they just need to change up the whole lineup. I'm thinking.
The other guy being Bill?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Sorry, come on, Ish.
Don't learn my name soon enough.
All right, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking like they need to put. Well, ever since they lost Whit Merrifield, I feel like the team that has just went down a little bit. And
Ish. You don't know Ish. Ish is famous for these kind of takes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think Ish. All those years, I would think you were playing me, but now I'm not so sure. I think you actually believe that what you just said.
I'm being serious. If you look at Whit Merrifield's numbers, they actually went up.
No, Ish. That's because they were at like 180. Now he's batting 200. Come on.
Yeah.
Ish is famous. All those years I talked to Ish. Now I'm talking about maybe 15 years worth. I was here for 15 years before, and I remember Ish from day one. He always had a weird take like that, and I say I'm trying to like this guy just trying to twist me, and I come to the conclusion that maybe he does believe this stuff.
Whit Merrifield was a disaster when he was here,
Yeah,
and he's not doing anything for Atlanta.
Listen, I feel sorry for a guy because a guy in baseball, you lose it.
And he lost it quick.
He did. He lost. I mean, he's 35 years old, so he got a lot of mileage out of his career.
But last season,
you can't. 35. Your reaction time's slower. Is like you're just when it's over.
But everything we were talking about with Dombrowski not doing enough for that outfield, I thought he did when he got Merrifield. I thought he was going to be a great bat that could platoon out there and left, and turned out Merrifield just doesn't have it anymore.
That's right. Well, that's where they came. I forgot about Merrifield. They came in with him being the platoon in left field.
Correct.
With Marsh.
By the way, as we talk business, Mike.
Yes. Pache was the platoon with. No. Well, Pache was just the extra.
Yeah. But did you see the NFL team valuations that came out?
Are the Eagles in top 5?
Top 10.
Uh-huh. Dallas number 1.
Dallas became the first professional sports team to top $10 billion.
Yeah. Nice to be Jerry Jones. 610-632-0975. We're back with your calls after this. Missanelli Show, 97.5 The Fan. All right, tomorrow we're going to be out somewhere, right? Where are we going to be, Ray, tomorrow?
Roberto Clemente Playground, I believe.
Roberto Clemente Playground. It's a Sixer event, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll have hopefully some Sixers guests. I was just telling Bill, I've had Julius Erving on my shows over the years a lot. But when I first encountered Julius Erving, I was doing a magazine story on him back in the day. And so he invites me to his house. He had a beautiful house in Villanova. And we sat out on the veranda with these chairs and tables and stuff. And it was a beautiful scene. And I'm having one of the great interviews of my life. I got the tape recorder rolling, and he's just going off. And I go, man, this can't be going any better. And he's got an Akita dog. And the Akita dog's kind of roaming the patio. All of a sudden, the Akita dog sneaks up like he couldn't see it, but it was like he sneaks up under the table, and he started humping my leg. Now, I had to make a journalistic decision there because the interview is going fantastic. And I'm going, I cannot break up this interview right now to tell Julius Erving that his dog is humping my leg. So I took one for the team.
You got to do what you got to do sometimes.
I allowed the dog to keep humping away while he was talking.
To completion for the dog?
Well, I don't know what completion is. No, yeah. Come on, man. What completion?
Asking the tough questions here.
So I don't know how long the interview was.
No, I've stopped. I made the right decision, I think. Well, what would you have done? See, I was dedicated to the craft. That's the point. For all you young kids out there, let me tell you something. If you're interviewing somebody and a dog starts humping your leg, just go with the interview.
I would have done the same thing. For Dr. J, you just let the interview go.
For Dr. J, yeah, I think it's one of those. Yeah, all right.
If we get Dr. J on tomorrow, we'll have to ask him about it.
I last time I saw him, I brought the story up. I said, I know you don't remember, because, we're friendly. Hey, Doc, what's up? I know you don't remember this, but he goes, yeah, and he didn't remember the name of the dog.
He didn't remember the name?
He did. Oh, yeah, that was my dog. I forget what the name of the dog was. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that was my dog. Yeah, I love that dog. Yeah, I liked him, too.
He liked you? He liked you more.
Dog certainly liked you.
But how about Dr. J getting on a plane, going all the way to California to help recruit Paul George with the Sixers brass?
At least he could do. He's on the payroll.
He is on the payroll.
There's a lot of guys on the payroll that do nothing, to be honest with you.
So what are your thoughts?
What do you think AI does for him?
Oh, he gets cheers.
You think he's breaking rocks?
No, he's
for
not
the
doing
Sixers?
Let me ask
they
you.
didn't bring him for that.
Mikey Miss.
Yeah.
Violation on Paul George, making everybody take their shoes off for that meeting?
No.
I supported it.
Yeah, listen, I'm not that type of guy. But if he's got a home that he cares about and he's got rugs that could get soiled, why not keep a nice house? You know?
Yeah. No, I liked it. And we had Paul George on a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, how was he?
Great guy.
Yeah?
And I asked him about his Allen Iverson shirt. I said, did you buy that AI shirt just for the meeting? He said he owns enough AI shirts he could have changed them every 30 minutes and still had
to be a hero to him, at that time.
Yeah, and he's wearing number 8 for Kobe. So a lot of cool stuff from Paul
Good
George.
for him. I'm looking forward to the Sixers season. I just don't know if I don't know what to expect. Okay, so the Phillies, I made a mistake. It's not game. They won't have a game 3 against Florida. This is just a 2-game series against Miami. So the game 3 will be the first game against the Washington Nationals. Now I'm telling you, if they slog tonight, which I don't think they will, they're a minus 190. I think they will hit. I do like your bet of minus a run and a half. I think they put an 8-piece up tonight, 8-3 or 8-4. Now, in that case,
you feel better?
I would not. I don't change the line. The lineup should be out soon, but I wouldn't change the lineup for this game. If they slog, game 1 against the Nationals is probably a change to shock the system.
If they lose tonight.
Or look bad.
Yeah.
Like if they squeak by, they play bad defensively. Like they haven't played great defense. They haven't. That's part of the malaise when you're not concentrating, your defense suffers. Harper hasn't been that great at first base lately. Trey, that ball last night, that's ridiculous for a shortstop not to come up with.
But that hasn't been just recent. Trey hasn't been great in the field pretty much all year.
But I think he's a good enough player to be a better shortstop. I think his concentration lacks on defense.
And you don't expect JT to throw into the outfield when he's trying to throw a guy out at third. That doesn't happen.
No, that was a terrible throw. That would have gone down the left field line, went off the umpire's buttocks.
Yeah.
All right, so like you look at last night's game, and I said at the start of this show, you have to balance the fact that they came off that long road trip, and the first game back is usually your biorhythms are not great. Now, the crowd tried to pick them up last night. There was some cheers. They
didn't last long, though.
They run our scoring position. You heard the crowd. But again, Taijuan Walker doesn't give you a chance. He puts you in a hole right away. He doesn't have command of his strike zone. He gives up a lemon home run to make it 3-0 on that pitch. He is a problem because his velocity is terrible right now.
Everything about him's terrible.
Yeah, if he doesn't have the splitter, getting swings and misses, he's useless to you as a starting pitcher right now.
He is, and it's not the way you wanted to start the homestand, but at the same time, this team a couple of months ago, 3-0 in the first inning, you're thinking they got a real shot to come back. You knew the game was over last night.
Yes. And then you just see the body language is bad. You can't have bad body language when you're not playing good baseball because that carries over. What you want to carry over is, you hit a 3-hopper to the shortstop. Bust your ass down there. At least show something. Like, stop running that last out. At least you show something, a little fight. That shows a little fight rather than with the hangdog. He leads the team in hangdog face.
I agree, but at the same time, it's hard to direct my frustration at Bohm when he's the only one who's been hitting.
I get it, but hangdog is unacceptable. 610-632-0975. We're back. 131 in Mike Missanelli Show. Let's go to the text board. The text board's humming. The YouTube chat board, since we're on YouTube Live, is humming. Let's go to Ray. Ray, what kind of text are we getting on this whole Phillies thing?
Eddie and Camden wanted to check in your conversation earlier, responding to someone saying they're out. Next time someone says I'm out, it exposes a lot about their character. Half-wit, emotional, and ridden with overthinking. Gotta let life play out sometimes. Cookies always crumble.
Nobody is really out, though. This is what you got to understand. That is a protective device, a human protective device. Like, I'm not even going to go there. You know? That's what people do to protect themselves from a bad result. And in Philadelphia, you've suffered enough bad. Well, you haven't, right? But in general, people have suffered enough bad results where they try to protect themselves for the worst possible scenario, which in this case is the Phillies collapsing. So that's why you say I'm done.
There's been a lot of people making the comparison between this Phillies collapse and what happened with the Philadelphia Eagles at the end of last season. I'm still not there. I don't think that you can compare them unless the Phillies continue this. I don't think that you can make the comparison. Are you with me on that?
Wow, look at you. Now, they lost 7 of 8. This year you come in, you're buying Sirianni a bouquet of roses. See, the Phillies get into a slump. You got Rob Thompson. You want him to kick over tables.
Yes. Such a false narrative, though. I am always accused of being this big Sirianni guy. I'm related to Sirianni.
Hell yeah.
My point, and I see people on the YouTube chat, somebody said, I agree with Bill about everything except Sirianni. My point on Sirianni was, when you look at the 3 seasons here, there's been a lot more good than bad, and he deserved so much good, and he deserved to come back. I'm not going to make excuses for him if this team doesn't succeed this season. I just think it was the right decision to bring him back. If that makes me his cousin, then so be it.
It kind of does, because he lost 7 of 8 games, lost the team completely. Made a hectic, knee-jerk decision to change coordinators. I mean, I don't know what you didn't see in that whole thing. What good did you see? That's right.
It was ugly. But with that being said, 2022, they go to the Super Bowl, Mike. 2023, they start off the season 10-1. Like, you can't just ignore all the good because of what happened in 8 games.
Well, you kind of can. What a collapse. When a collapse like that happens, of that tumultuous an effect, how are you supposed to treat it? Like, he's still competent? Like, even though they started out 10-1, okay, wow. And they lose 7 of 8. That has, I don't know, maybe because I think more negative than you. But losing 7 of 8 and like how they came out of that season weighs more on me than their start.
So then let me ask you. This slump with the Phillies continues. They back their way into the playoffs. They lose the first series. That would be similar to what happened with the Eagles. Are you moving on from Rob Thompson?
I would have to think about it. I really would have to think about it.
That would be tough.
When you come to a conclusion that the coach is no longer effective, for whatever reason it is, it might be just coincidence. But sometimes when disappointment rears its head, you got to do something about it, because you got fans to consider. You got your organization to consider. You can't have, if fans have bailed out on a particular coach, like, what do? Ignore it?
You don't ignore it, but back to Sirianni. You really would have fired him because he couldn't do something that no one else ever did.
What do you think the approval rating is on Nick Sirianni right now from Eagle fans? What do you think it is?
Approval rating?
Approval rating on, like a presidential candidate. What's the approval rating on Sirianni? If you really be honest with yourself, what do you think most people are thinking? That they're glad to have him as a coach, or they're not glad to have him as a coach? Because I can tell you, it's probably about 50-50 at this point. And that's not good enough.
I would think it'd actually be less. I think it's probably...
That's even worse.
Probably 75-25.
Okay.
The other way. I'm not saying they're right, though. Look, I think that what this guy has done in 3 seasons, he deserved to come back. There's been a lot of good. And what you were asking him to do this year had never been done. Or, excuse me, last season. It had never been done. You go to the Super Bowl, you lose. We know how hard the hangover is in of itself. And then you lose both of your coordinators. It's only happened twice before. And none of those guys could get back to a Super Bowl the following season. And then you figure you have a bad defense, bad personnel. Yes, it was ugly down the stretch. He just deserved another shot. Now, if he struggles this year, Mike, yeah, he should be gone. But I don't think...
So you're saying it was a marvelous thing. He lost 2 coordinators and he still won 10-1. That was a marvelous. So that outweighs anything that could have possibly happened to make the season collapse. That's what you're saying.
Not just the 10-1 start. You look at the whole 3 seasons. Being the only Eagles coach to ever start his career with 3 straight playoff appearances, I think you have to look at all of that and say, you know what? We're going to give him another shot.
So much good.
Then firing the guy.
Let me ask you about a real question. Do you think that he was given another shot because he deserved another shot, or do you think that had they cut loose from him, they would have looked ridiculous after announcing to the world that they found the next new shiny toy?
I think it was probably a combination. And the YouTube chat's calling me Bill Spadaro right now, just so you know. That's my nickname on the YouTube chat right now.
Uh-huh.
But I think it was probably a combination. But you also have to look at it from this perspective. You're the Philadelphia Eagles organization, and you go ahead and you fire a guy that got you to the playoffs 3 straight seasons, that brought you to a Super Bowl, was a half away from winning a Super Bowl. How does that look not only to your fan base, I'm talking about to the rest of the league? You look dysfunctional, in my opinion, if you move on from Sirianni last year, even though he's had all of that good, has the best winning percentage of any coach in franchise history.
Oh, my God. Listen.
He's got a better winning percentage right now.
Listen to this.
Mike, he's got
best winning percentage in Eagle history. He's been a coach a half an hour.
3 seasons. You would have moved on from him.
Yes, I told you I would have moved on from him. Here's what it's not that here's the way I look at him. He's an eye roll coach. Like, I look at him like a player. A player, he's an eye roll as opposed to a straight stare. Now, players don't like their coaches in general. I don't think they worship any coach. When you get to be a professional player, there's nobody you're going to go into a burning building for at this level, right?
Agreed.
So it's either a straight stare or an eye roll. I think that he's so contrived sometimes that he gets an eye roll more than he gets a straight stare.
You may be correct, but I just look at what he's done and say, hey, he deserves to come back. The devil you know is better than the devil you don't. What would have been the better move?
Why is that? That's not true.
Because it's been
The devil that you know is still a devil.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think this team in the 3 seasons has had a more good or bad in Sirianni's 3 years? More good or bad?
7 of 8 and losing to Tampa Bay is more bad. I'm sorry.
It was.
I can't. Listen, I look at the first year, I go, I think that maybe that was more of a fluke than him being a genius, because that was the year where he came out with all the Harry High School stuff and all. All right, so maybe
We all fertilize.
right, the fertilizer and the whole thing. When you lose 7 of 8, you collapse like that. To me, that's more of an indication of what you are than the fortune. And this, explain to me this devil thing.
Who are you going to hire?
The devil you know is not as good as the devil.
Because who were you going to hire? Every single season, we see it in the NFL.
You can ask that question 1,000 times to people when a head coach isn't effective. You can always have an excuse. Well, who are you going to hire? It doesn't really matter. The point is that maybe a change is needed before you get to the point where, well, who are you going to hire? You got to look at the situation and go, 7 of 8, they collapsed. He foolishly, like he was in high school, changed his defensive coordinator right in mid-flight. Like that. That's a guy who I believe is an overmatched coach.
I'm with you with how it ended. However, when we talk about, they went from 10-1, they lost 7 of 8. They weren't a 10-1 team. This team overperformed the start of the season. They weren't that good. The defense was terrible. The offensive game plans were bad. And yes, Sirianni shares in responsibility.
I don't want to back myself into a corner here where he's the coach and I have to accept it. And I'll learn more. Maybe I look like a fool if he starts off like they're 6-1 and they get through that gauntlet of the schedule and maybe he's a good coach. I don't know. I'll reserve that. In which case, the people will say, "Well, you were down on Sirianni." Listen. There have been a lot of opinions I put out there where I had to eat.
See, I think what's going to happen...
I'd be willing to eat that opinion.
I don't think people are going to make you eat it. I think what's going to happen is it's because of Kellen Moore. It's because of Vic Fangio. Sirianni's not getting credit here. He's never going to get it.
Let's get some text in here in the Phillies. What are people saying, Ray?
Joe in Boston, only 2 players can carry this team. Trey and Bryce. We go as far as they take us.
Yeah, that's not necessarily true because you got to get your third starter right. That's really important, and you got to get something out of Stoddard Marsh.
And you need something. I think when we talk about carrying, wouldn't Schwarber be amongst the one?
Yeah, Schwarber.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's missing Schwarber, but he's right. The two stars on the team, the two highest paid guys, are who he named, and he's right. They both have to carry. I think Turner is a guy who I don't worry about. I know people say, he's a butcher at short. Not really. He just has lapses of concentration sometimes. 2 weeks ago, he's hitting 330. So I think he's fine, and I never worry about those two guys.
No.
Like, I got enough to worry about down the line without worrying about those two guys.
And come playoff time, I think you're going to need your starting pitching to carry you. I mean, that's just how October baseball is. We're going to need Wheeler, Nola, and hopefully Ranger Suarez. That's
key. He's the key. Maybe he's hit an innings wall. I don't know. What else we got, Ray?
A text from earlier getting into the conversation about throwing chairs and getting upset. You cannot manufacture urgency. It's why in hockey, playoff teams that are up 3-0 have difficulty sweeping a series. Phillies gave themselves a big cushion and got comfortable. If the Mets, Braves pull within 2 games, they'll feel the heat again and step up.
Baseball is such a different sport. It's like like people that say he needs to show emotion, he needs to bury his players in the press, he needs to say something in the press. That's the worst thing you can do, in my experience in covering baseball. The guys, baseball players have enough fragileness in them, or fragility.
When you say people, you're talking to me, because that's what I think he should do.
I was trying not to dime you out, but I was basically, you have a football mentality for baseball.
But here's where I disagree with you, only because when was the last time we saw a team go from playing 700 baseball to playing 400 baseball? Or less, basically, what you're getting now.
But baseball is one of those sports where if all go bad, you hope guys are going to go bad. That's a given, right? You hope they don't all go bad at once. That's what's happening right now. That's rare. Usually, the other guys will pick you up when some other guys are going bad. That's the definition of a good team. So they're not doing that right now, and you can make the case, well, then they're not a good team. But it's like everybody at once is not playing well, and I just think. It's because it's August. It's a long season. You get a second wind as September comes around. So that's why I think there's still going to be a top 1 or 2 seed. But I've laid out all the scenarios, and the scenario that they don't finish 1 or 2 isn't that bad. Because then they would have to go through the Padres to get to the next series. They're playing along. They don't have the layoff where you can get unsharp.
But you're probably, even if they finish as a 2, you're going to have to play 4 in L.A. in the NLCS as opposed to 4 at Citizens Bank. I'd much rather have 4 at Citizens Bank Park.
But they've handled the Dodgers.
They have. It's amazing. They're the only 2 series they've really handled.
I know one doesn't go with the other in the playoffs, that everything is different, but they did handle the Dodgers. I don't know.
But to your point, that baseball and they're fragile and all that. So are you suggesting that Rob Thompson does nothing?
The only thing he can do is change the lineup around to get people's attention. Yelling at him doesn't do anything. Being stern with him doesn't do anything. Believe me, I've been in enough baseball clubhouses that those guys don't like to hear that kind of. You remember when Gabe Kapler was here? He tried to do these amateur mental calisthenics with him.
He was a straight.
And they turn off to that. Like he broke out the curve. He made it a point to say, "I'm breaking out the curveball machine," and Bryce Harper almost laughed out loud at it. You know, I'm not saying that baseball players are right. Baseball players are weird because it's a really difficult thing to do, to hit and be a successful hitter.
But it keeps bringing me back to, you give the example of Gabe Kapler. I'm with you. It was ridiculous. But Charlie Manuel had no problem calling out some of his hitters. And that's the type of response I want from Rob Thompson.
Okay, but Charlie Manuel had that reputation that every now and then he would call out a hitter. Rob Thompson has never had that. He's never been that.
But he's also never had this type of malaise, as you're calling it. It's been pretty bad for too long now. Something has to change. He's got to do something differently.
Yeah, I just can't believe that Valente Belloso cuffed him last night.
Who?
Yeah, right. Who?
There you go. That's fine.
They almost had as many errors
That's
as
the
hits.
first soundbite you played from my friend Bernie.
Oh, we got some ready for you. Don't worry. Yeah, we do.
Bernie from Broomall, of course, was one of the great characters to ever call the show. I don't know if you remember.
Is he still alive, Bernie?
No,
from
he
Broomall?
passed away, and I actually went to his funeral, and I wrote something out for a eulogy for Bernie. He was a great little guy. And you get the thing about this job is that you make these associations with the callers who are regular callers, and then you meet them in person, and they're really good people. And Bernie will be forever be in memoriam as one of the great callers here.
Well, I'm glad that he will live on through our sound drops with Ray.
Hello.
Yeah, there's another one.
You had him in a couple times to readings, right? And all that?
He would come in when you least expected it. He would come into the studio station, and he would always have like a homemade bouquet of paper mache flowers or something, or some leftover food that his wife made, or whatever. He was a character, Bernie. But the main soundbite of Bernie is the soundbite. Huh? And he was like an older Italian guy who couldn't hear. So his first call to me was like we were having a dialogue, and everything I said back to him was, huh?
Huh?
There it is. There it is.
And so the legend of Bernie was born with the huh. You know, like you had an older uncle, Uncle Joe. Huh?
Huh?
That was Bernie.
How about Ray having all these drops for you?
Yeah, Ray has done some research. We collaborated. I sent him a couple of emails.
Preparation is key.
Yeah, preparation is key.
Preparation is key. And I'm talking about Charlie Manuel would call out his players. People are checking in saying Dallas Green, 1980.
Yeah, but see, Dallas Green doesn't work anymore. That's the whole point. Like 1980. How many years ago was that?
44.
Oh, there you go. The Dallas Green type managers.
I was not yet born in 1980.
And he did that. So all those personalities were all type A personalities. So they would get mad at him. He did that. So they would say, screw him. We'll show him. Like he did that for that. But you can't do the same thing today with these players.
Not saying you need to do the same thing. You just can't do
Dallas
nothing.
Green, 1980.
You can't do nothing. That's what Rob Thompson's doing right now. Nothing. He's not changing the lineup. He's not meeting with his players. He's not holding anybody accountable. I thought about it.
All right, so give me the bill list on what you do. All right, you're Rob Thompson here. The bill list. Number one.
Team meeting.
Team meeting. You had a team meeting, and in that team meeting, how would you be the number one in the team meeting?
Come into the meeting, call people out.
You would call people out in front of other players.
It doesn't have to be in a horrible way.
Give me an example.
Here's how I'm calling people out. Trey, you're struggling. You're sitting tonight. Sosa, you're in. Bryson, you've been struggling. We're dropping you down in the lineup. I don't know if they could drop him anymore. I'm moving. Marsh, you've been struggling. You're batting in the 9-hole tonight. I'm doing different things to let them know, look, it's time to wake the hell up. So it doesn't have to be calling them out, throwing chairs necessarily, but it's having a meeting. It's explaining to them that we need to refocus here, that this is no longer just a slump. It's no longer just a couple bad series. This is who you are becoming.
The way you do that is just change the lineup without telling them that you're struggling. Like they don't need it. They know they're struggling. If you get the manager goes, hey, Trey, hey, you're in front of the whole team. Trey, you stink right now, so I'm gonna drop you down. Like that's what you don't do. What you do is you post a lineup that has the changes, and that's it.
See,
and then fellas deal with it. But you don't do it in front of a team. So you're struggling. I got to do this.
I never took Mike Missanelli as a coddler. You want to coddle these guys?
No, I'm telling you, it's a different mentality when you're dealing with 25 guys in a clubhouse. You can't just say, Trey, you're struggling. We're dropping you down. He knows he's struggling. Baseball players know when they're struggling. They're neurotic about it. They're going crazy. Oh God, they're praying they get a hit to get out of a slump or whatever. The last thing you want to do is re-emphasize it to them.
But here's the issue I have with your approach. You started the show, and we've talked about it a few times, that they're doing things that are lazy.
I get it. We'll see what he does. They're going to win tonight. Minus 190. I'm taking it. Stay tuned for Ty and Ricky. Thanks for listening, everybody. It's been the Mike Missanelli Show. We'll check you tomorrow. Bye-bye.